but I'm here with Gino.
Hey, Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player. Feeling like Pac. Represent. On my block. Try to knock me down, but I come up on top. Yeah, they wanna see me flop. Got a plot, want a lot. I won't stop on my pops. Got so many flows, it's insane. They don't really understand the game. Got a plan and it's plain, I ain't playing. I'm just trying to gain. I wanna get that big bag, need that big racks. Blow up Tic Tac with a blue cheese at. I don't give a fuck about your feedback. Eat that, get back, sit back, watch me spit that kickback. Got so many flows, yeah, they think that I'm insane. Ghetto kids in a lot of pain, all about the bills, ain't shit changed. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game, I'm a player. If you a hater, I don't hate you. I'm just really happy that I ain't you. I just wanna thank you. You kept me motivated, so now I motivate you. There's a lot of cake, money on my mind like a banker. Coming through with them bangers, ain't no room for mistakes. Lot of stake, hustle till we get a lot of rooms, lot of stakes. Good kid, but I keep it gangsta. All gas, no brakes. Got cash for the case. More cash in the case. More cash in the safe. More cash on the way. Hustling all day. Ay. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player.
Danger, coming with the bangers. Where my fucking paper.
Said I'm taking big shots, just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. They been trying to get me cheap like a thrift shop, but I told them it's my time, shit the wristwatch. They been talking way before they even doing something. Whoa. If they wanna play, let's get a tip off. Ain't no silver lining, dawg, this some rose gold. Getting new money, I'm a old soul. Yeah, I get it bouncing like a pogo. Whoa. And I'm too cold like Frozone. And my chick elastic, girl. Told them we ain't in the faking, this ain't plastic, girl. Bought a new whip and cash, now my tax is thorough. Way I'm shooting like step with my passes, bro. The way I'm playing the field, I'm in a league of my own. And now they all in their fields, I got them all on my phone. But dog, I'm hitting the climb, I got no time on the low. Way I'm shooting is messy, the way I'm hitting the goals. I'm taking big shots, just stop. Way I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. I just left, but you know I'm coming back though. Whoa. And you know I don't play by my rags though. Now go and turn it up to the max, whoa. Send a paper to me now like a fax, whoa. Yeah. Got 2 phones ringing off the hook now. When I'm in the city, I get looks now. I was going bad, but I'm good now. Said I had to go and put my foot down. Told him I'ma get it and go. Nah, even in the summer, man, they knowing I'm cold. I got a couple checks coming that I made off the flows. Might get a couple more popping if I do it some more. I gotta do it for real. Said I'm back in my bag. All my digits are climbing just like they all on a dash. And they tell me slow down cause dog I'm moving too fast. Might go and call me a Tesla cause dog I still got a gas. Said I'm taking big shots, just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream, and Bitcoin finally coming down to hit that monthly naked point of control with a nice little SFP and some other bullish confirmations we were looking at in the premium Discord for at least some kind of a day trade or scalp to the upside, which has hit take profit one, at least so far. So I want to talk about this push, as yesterday in the live stream, we were looking at that monthly MPOC. As you guys know, I am always in the camp of really preferring to wait for those lower levels to get hit. Those MPOCs do act as a magnet for price. And eventually we did get that rollover last night. So, yeah, how high can we go? What are the higher targets that we're looking at? Are we going to be able to make it above $61,000? I want to cover the line in the sand, or two major lines in the sand. First one showing us a little bit of strength on Bitcoin, potentially pointing towards our lower, more conservative, higher targets, and then we'll talk about that big level that could potentially hold us back from getting a much, much bigger move to the upside. We'll take it step by step. We'll talk about the bounce and hopefully be able to see where this thing's going to go next. I mean, we say a monthly MPOC going to get tapped. I'm waiting for it. If it didn't get tapped, I would have sat out of the trade. But as always, guys, if you take anything away from this stream, those key levels are more likely to get tapped, man. They really, really are. Those MPOCs literally act as a magnet for price. So shout out to anybody that was tuned in yesterday. But shout out to the Mafia. Welcome in, guys. We got Rudy in the chat. Welcome in. Frankie in the pink. Bro, I just hit 150K on Polymarket for guessing the color of Frankie would be wearing today. Shout out to Rudy. Let's go. 150K for the pink shirt. Come on, baby. Come on. Let's go. Didn't even know I was on Polymarket. Let's go. Shout out to Rudy. Congratulations, brother. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. But shout out to Rudy. We got New Earth Guardian in the chat. Welcome in. Pennywise, everybody's favorite clown. We got Friendly Clown. We think, guys. We think. We're not sure. Darren Does Things and Jesse holding it down as the mods. We got Lindo in the chat. M-Dog. We got everybody here. We even got Crimson Caravan's girlfriend in the chat. Welcome. Good to see you in here. Long time no see. At least I haven't seen your name in chat. I know Crimson comes in sometimes. But let's see. We got Cole said, great trade, Frankie. Longed 58K. Shout out to Cole, bro. You just simply wait for those key levels, guys. You set set those traps in the market, wait for the confirmations, and I'll even break down what we were looking at in the Discord. I'll pull up that post because obviously it's already played out, and I'll break down kind of exactly how we look for this, and it'll give you guys a good idea of kind of what we do in the premium Discord. As always, it's not a signals group. I never encourage people to just copy my trades. I actually show you what to look for in order to pull those triggers. So without further ado, hey, shout out to BTC Bill. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Gifted those 20 Frankie Candles memberships. Let's go. Look at those green names popping up in the chat. Everybody drop a B in the chat for BTC Bill. I appreciate you so much, bro. Thank you for the support, and thank you for gifting those memberships to the Mafia. If you just got a green name, guys, you're stuck. You can't get out. I mean, it'll expire, I think, in 30 days, but you're still locked in for life. It's the Mafia. What do you want from us? But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. Shout out to Joe Ragon Experience says, I'm just chilling for real, trying to get my nails done for real. Hint, hint. Shout out to, I don't know what else that could mean, but shout out to Joe. Welcome in, brother. Welcome in. Big Joe Rogan fan, guys. I like Joe Rogan. But anyway, let's go ahead and peace in the chat for BTC Bill. Let's get it, baby. I appreciate you, brother. But let's go ahead and jump in here, guys. Now, obviously, yesterday, if you tuned into the live stream, real quick before we jump in, guys, we have... Well, almost exposed the setups there. We have pushed into the value area high, right? So just for the kind of super hyper local price action, we have pushed into the value area high. This is resistance. So not surprised to see it push back down towards the POC. And just to kind of future-proof this over the next few minutes, if we lose the POC, potentially next major target, value area low. But that is just super low time frame stuff. If you guys tuned into yesterday's live stream, you will know that as we were getting a little bit of a bounce off this daily, this tapped daily, we had already come down to tap this once, twice, and then the third time, which oftentimes I really don't pay much attention to these levels. Of course, we did get a little bit of a reaction, but of course, that next major zone to the downside, guys, was sitting between the monthly MPOC. This was the big high time frame monthly level, and because it's an MPOC, I do look at these to act as a magnet for price, in which case, at the end of the stream, and probably 30 times throughout the stream, I mentioned, for long positions, I really would prefer to see the low taken out into the monthly MPOC with our bullish confirmations. I'll talk about those in just a minute, but in the most beautiful fashion ever, guys, push in, take out the low directly into that $58,000 MPOC, and then we get the bounce back to the upside, a little bit of a retracement, and then we push up here, and now sitting at currently about $59,825. And I know it's not that big of a move, but nice to see that level tapped. And again, if you take anything away from yesterday's live stream or today's live stream, guys, I always say this, right? There is a chance, right, that you don't come down to hit those levels and price can go up without you, and that is totally no problem for me, because if I miss a trade, I lose no money, right? I'd rather wait for those magnetic targets to get hit, and sometimes it can get pretty nerve-wracking, right? If you're worried about missing the trade, at least. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to miss it. I am always in the camp of waiting for those levels to get hit, and once again, here we are. Key level tapped, right? So a very important thing in my trading, right, to kind of sit out of early long positions, right? If I don't hit the key level, I'm not necessarily interested in the trade. Of course, I did take a long here at the value area low. That ended up playing out to the value area high. I ended up getting stopped out at a loss in that. But again, the next place I was interested in taking the trade was not the daily. It was the monthly MPOC, and beautifully, in the most poetic fashion, right? Push down in there, and then we get the push. We start to break structure, and we push back in using the volume profile above as a beautiful roadmap for price. And in the premium Discord, I will break this down for you guys to give you an idea of kind of what I was looking for here. This was posted, I believe, what is today? The first? Yeah, this was posted yesterday. Looking for the push into the monthly MPOC with the daily horizontal sitting underneath it. And specifically what we were looking for here, well, obviously you can always look for the SFP, which we did end up getting. We actually took a look at the liquidation heat maps yesterday. We got the wick down below. Zoom in here. Wick down below, candle closure above. Very, very nice. And then on top of that, we wanted to see... Still looking for the setups from yesterday, so my plan remains the same. My long has been stopped out for a small loss. Going to be patient here. I prefer to see a break of the low, right? We don't just, we talked about it on the live stream, but here it is in writing. I'd like to see the break of the low with bull divs on the 1 hour and down. There is the break of the low. There is the SFP, and here is the 1 hour bullish divergence. Lower lows on your price action, higher lows on our momentum waves. And unfortunately, guys, I was out at the time. Of course, it's like, we were live not too very shortly after we ended the live stream. We went down to tap this level. I was out with Mrs. Candle, so I actually ended up catching a retracement. So I am actually to be fair, I am not in from the exact low, which is super annoying because I've been waiting for this level for so long. Of course, I walk away. We get off the live stream. I walk away. All of a sudden, we get the quick SFP and we start pushing up. I did try to catch a little retracement here, so my entry is up on one of these local retracements. I'll show it to you on the lower time frame, but I don't have a perfect entry here at the low. That's totally fine. I'm not super worried about it. Again, after closing my short position from $81,000 that I added to here at 67K, after closing that in major profit, right? If I end up losing this one again, we've already hit and take profit one, so I'm not really worried about it. But we take that long position, and the first major target within that push, right? Because, of course, in this bearish environment, we do have to be careful. Now, it does have maybe an opportunity to turn into a swing trade, but, of course, that first major target being the value area low at $59,180. We covered this on the live stream. Whether we come down to the low or not, this is your first major level of resistance. You know, this is going to be resistance until proven otherwise. We came up, hit that first take profit, push down for a beautiful golden pocket retracement, got the bounce right there on the golden pocket for a higher low and a higher high to come. Once we flip that value area low, right, get back inside the range, at that point, the next likely place for price to go, I can come down to a lower time frame, right? Once we get in here and flip this value area low to support, very high probability for a push into the POC, get above the POC, into the value area high, using that volume profile or having the volume profile work out beautifully as a roadmap for where price is going to go next. So very nice to see this play out. Now, I'm going to talk about kind of what we need to see for this to continue up in a much bigger way. We'll talk about those next major targets to the upside, and just kind of wanted to talk about what we were looking for, what we saw happen, what we wait for these trades. Now, we're not always waiting for 1 hour bullish divergences and an SFP. The confirmations change trade to trade, but of course, right, we wound up looking for those specifically. We got them to come in, perfect TP, back in, fill the range in full. So very locally here, we've gotten to the value area low. This does, keep this volume profile in play here at this point, right? If we can't get out of the volume profile, lose the POC, value area low is going to be the biggest level to watch, in my opinion, sitting at $59,173. I don't think, let me see if we have a little bit of confluence here. Yeah, you do have the golden pocket sitting in some kind of confluence with that value area low. So this sits between about $59,180 down to about $59,000. It would be nice, right, if we're going to continue this uptrend, it would be nice if we wound up coming to fill this volume profile. This would be very, very important support. Number one, it gives you that golden pocket for a potential higher low before eventually seeing another higher high. And on top of that, right, it is the value area low of the range, which is oftentimes where I am going to be looking for those long positions. Now, do I think this is like the most beautiful high time frame confluence? Not really, but for the continuation of the trend, this is going to be locally the key level that I would be looking at, and hopefully that we can hold above. Now, of course, you still have the 786 down there, so if we get a loss of this value area low, could you put in a higher low on the 786? It's definitely possible. This is still really when I'm looking for those higher lows. We're going to be looking between the golden pocket and 786. But at that point, right, you're below the value area low. To be honest, I really prefer to hold inside, at least if we squeak out here. I really like to overall hold inside this range for the most part. Once we get out of here and hit the 786, you just got to be careful with those bounces because it could just be a bearish retest of the value area low for a potential continuation down. Once you lose this 786, I'm looking to take out 58.2, which could very well bring us down to new levels. But right now, I will say, right, we'll take a look at Market Cipher B. As you guys know, Market Cipher B has been pretty chopped up, but I'll try to, summarize this and show you guys kind of what I'm looking at. Still very, very choppy. But when we take a look at the daily, another big, or not really a big update, but something very important to realize here, guys, is we talked about this last night. If we, because when we did the last market update, right, I talked about that bullish sign that was starting to flash on the chart, which, of course, was the bullish divergence on the daily, right? We ended up printing that. We got the lower lows on our price action, which, of course, is what we were hoping for a break of the lows to have our short continue to play out from above, put in the lower low, and potentially put in a higher low on our momentum waves. And if we zoom into the momentum waves, you can see we did print and confirm that green dot before it instantly got invalidated and brought us down to that new monthly MPOC. But as we talked about yesterday, right, even if we came down lower, you do still have a potential possibility of just continuing to print bullish divergences, right? Once the red dot prints, it's technically invalidated. But even if we went down lower and this momentum wave dug a little deeper, you still have room. And I would argue still to this point, if we go down to some of our lower targets, which I will cover, we could still continue to print these bull divs. But right now, you can see we do have a green dot on the daily, printing another bullish divergence here, just kind of keeping this bullish divergence, I guess you can say, alive. So we do still technically have that. Now, money flow is not necessarily curving up, which is what we would like to see. This is going to take some time to develop, so we'll have to see how the price action plays out. But overall, hopefully we could keep this bullish divergence. And, this, again, if we see this bullish divergence play out, like I talked about when we started printing the original one, bull dips on the daily are a pretty nice signal. Now, with money flow chopped up, we talked about this in the market update. It does make it a little bit difficult. It's not like we had every time frame coming up with money flow, which is typically indicative of not only a big bounce, but a big continuation to the upside once you see that money flow starting to cross green. Still in the red here on the daily. Some of these medium time frames are still pretty chopped up, right? Your 1 hour is attempting to come up, but it's coming out locally. I would still say money flow is in a bit of a difficult situation, but just to give you an idea, if we do continue up and this bull div is going to play out, the roadmap I would like to see, number one, we really want to get above about $61,000, right? I would say these two highs, zoom in here, these highs here at about, 60,815, and even this high right here at about almost $62,000. This is going to be a very, very important level to flip, in my opinion, for two separate reasons, right? We already broke the local market structure, but once we could start getting above these highs, we could start to look at this as a shift in market structure, right? We could be going from clear higher lows, high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. We will start kind of shifting that into an uptrend. And on top of that, when we pull up our volume profile, I couldn't think of the word there for a second. Of course, right, we've talked about this target. This is kind of the lackluster intermediary target. I'm not necessarily, maybe I'll take some shorts up here. The bigger targets still sit at what we looked at yesterday, which is between 62.5 and 63K, and then up here towards the value area high 786, which sits between about 64 and 64,500. These are still going to be the biggest levels that I'm interested in. But of course, if we do continue out here, we're able to break our local volume profile. If we're able to make our way out here, the next big level to look at is going to be the next value area low, sitting at, call it 61,500 to 62,000. Once we get up in there and we can reclaim this value area low as support, obviously the next major target becomes the POC. We do have confluence here. We have the point of control, the golden pocket, as well as a time point of control and a daily MPOC in there as well. So this is really going to be that bigger target, but on the way up, I would still say that this daily MPOC value area low zone, especially with these highs being here, is going to be a major level to flip. So I would say on the lower time frames, number one, get out of this structure, right? Start breaking around $61,000, get back inside the value area low. Now we can start, and again, we are in a downtrend here, guys. So this is technically still a bearish trend. Even when we pull our local fib from the high to the low, you can see we are rejecting the 786. So I was letting the premium Discord know, right? Like, still not a bad time to be locking in profits on the long. But we are still technically at risk of continuing the downtrend until we can get out of this structure, right? This is that second level. Once we get above here, we could start pushing up into the POC as long as we could stay inside of this range. Maybe some potential scalp shorts here at the point of control golden pocket. But at that point, once we're accepted into this volume profile, we do have to start to be careful with the short positions because we could very easily flip the value area low, or as long as we stay inside the value area and hold that value area low, right? We could easily continue up to fill that range in full up towards about $64,500, right? Zone starting at the 786 at 63.9. But, once we get up in here, this is going to start to make me feel a little bit better about a continuation to the upside. Hopefully, we can get our money flow to continue into the green. That is what I'm going to be watching to anticipate if this trend can continue up. But I would say right now, $61,000 to $62,000 is the first major structure that we want to break and flip into support to see that bigger move to the upside. And then, of course, right, if we're looking at this from a daily bullish divergence perspective, and I don't want to get anybody like super carried away here, there's no guarantee that we're going to see this play out. We are in a bearish environment. Again, we're still in a downtrend. We have to be very cautious on the way up, which is why letting the Discord know that, we are going to be viewing this as a shorter term trade. And then if it winds up turning into something else, I'm going to let that hit me by surprise. But really the big levels here, once we start getting out of this volume profile, right? And if I take off the profiles, I'll take off the key levels, and I'll just show this kind of from a structure perspective. Come on down to the 4 hour, right? Like, start cracking above here. flip this into support. The next big level is, of course, going to be on our macro value area, which still sits here. The value area low POC still sits at about $67,000. If we can get out of this kind of wonky range that we have down here, pull up the other range as well, right? Get out of this wonky range down here. Start working our way through this profile, right? And of course, it's going to be choppy. There's going to be pullbacks, etc. But after that point, if we could continue up through this profile, this is still going to be the biggest level to the upside, in my opinion. If we're looking for a big move on Bitcoin to the upside, 67 to 60, really 68K is going to be that big level. We got to get above that point of control, flip it into support, and that would open up the potentially bigger high time frame target up towards the larger 786 and value area high between $75,000 and $77,000. So I like to show this through the context of the volume profiles because, of course, if we get in here, there's no saying that we can't reject this 786 and continue down. So we have to be aware of these key levels in between before we get to 68K. But really just looking at this as a structural perspective, right? We want to get above here, push up in, right? Start playing around with the bigger range. Once we can flip that, we could start looking at the macro range. And that would very likely open up, in my opinion, right, a potentially fast move to the upside. Number one, you're looking for the fulfill the volume profile. Number two, we have a fast move down, which oftentimes does lead to a very fast move up. Now, this is, of course, the bullish case, guys. I cannot guarantee this is going to play out. I wish I had every time frame coming to the upside. I wish the 4-hour obviously is attempting to come up here, but this has been very, very choppy. So I have a little bit of, at least in this current environment, I have some trust issues right now with money flow. But of course, when we have that daily bullish diversion forming, we have to keep an eye on that and understand that these daily bull divs can lead to potentially big moves up. But of course, we do have a lot of work to do on the way there. That's why I cover these local levels. And of course, we will be looking for trades at those levels as well. In my opinion, the next place that I'm truly interested in a short position, as I mentioned yesterday, isn't going to be until we can get into these bigger golden pockets, right? And technically, could bring this down to the new low, which doesn't really change the level that much. Very, very slightly. But again, that is going to be like that $62,500 zone. So traps to the upside. Yesterday, our trap to the downside was the monthly MPOC with the daily backing it up. Wanted to see that monthly MPOC hit. Beautiful. Already got a wick to wick. Almost 5% move to the upside, so not too shabby there. So that was our trap to the downside. Our traps to the upside were here and here. Came to hit the trap to the downside, acted on that, took the trade, made some money. So I would still say the traps to the upside pretty much remain the same. The trap I am interested in, number one, number two, and then, of course, you are going to have that kind of intermediary level where we have this daily MPOC value area low, right? So 3 traps to the upside, and, I try to be as detailed as possible. I'm not as interested in this as I am here or here, but of course that does not mean this level is invalidated, right? Or invalid, rather. When we pull our fib here, you can see this is also a golden pocket 786 zone. So if we're going to be worried about lower highs and lower lows, hoping that it doesn't come in here. But if we continue up, right, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. These are going to be the places I'm looking at. And again, as we push up into these levels, we'll identify money flow and try to see, is the continuation up more likely? Are we going to really be anticipating lower highs? I will definitely be interested at these 2 levels. And then here, I'm kind of, I'm going to look at the reaction and see if I like a scalp there. But these are 100% going to be the next traps to the upside. Very, very clear, right? We're just simply trading the volume profiles at this point, right? Value area low, resistance until proven otherwise, right? POC, potential scalp opportunities, but once you're inside that range, you do have to be careful of flipping into support and filling that range in full. So these, even if you only get a scalp from here to the value area low, right? Of course, that is a scalpable, profitable opportunity if you get the confirmations, right? If I don't get the confirmations, we'll just wait for those next levels. But these are the 3 major traps to the upside. Already hit the trap to the downside. To be honest, I'm already holding the long, so I'm not going to be interested in anything unless we take out the lows again for a long. Hopefully, this can continue playing out a little bit more. I'm going to come into chat in just a second here, guys. But hopefully that makes sense, right? Start cracking 61 to 62K. I would be, in my opinion, the first kind of thought process or opportunity to open up some more upside. And then again, for the big moves, I'm not really going to get out of bed until we can flip that $68,000 zone, right? That could potentially give us a very large move up, first stopping at 71,440. And then once we get above that, of course, we'll just be viewing this as a volume profile, right? get above the PLC, start our journey to the value area high, which has a lot of confluence. But of course, we have the 71,440 daily MPOC, which could give you a little bit of turbulence. Definitely an opportunity there. I don't want to cover every single level. Obviously, we're still very far away from this, and we have a lot of work to do on the way up. So cautiously optimistic here, guys. I will cover the bearish case after I check in with chat, because again, if we just roll over from where we're at right now, we are, I'm not telling you to long Bitcoin right now. We talked about that level yesterday, was all the way down here. This is, in my opinion, too late. I would not be looking to long Bitcoin into resistance like this. Excuse me. So, hopefully, I really hope that we could just get out here. We have to rotate and just continue to range around here. This is obviously the local volume profile to watch with the golden pocket at the value area low. But yeah, this is pretty much my thought process, right? Bigger levels at 62 and then eventually $68,000 for the bigger moves. I will cover the bearish case and the key levels underneath us in case we do end up rolling over and taking out the lows again. Next place I'll be looking for some kind of a bounce. But let me go ahead and check in on chat here real quick. Bada boom, bada bing. Do I use exocharts to pull the volume profiles? I can't seem to get mine to match with yours. Shout out to Cole. We actually talked about this yesterday. You might be on a different exchange. That could change your value area levels. You might have it pulled from a slightly different candle. That could also change the levels very slightly. But these are pulled from TradingView. The ones I talk about here are pulled from TradingView, although you can get your TPO profiles from something like exocharts, right? You'll get something like this. These are not the ones that I have drawn on TradingView. They are all pulled from these are all pulled from TradingView. Hopefully that helps you out. Let's see. The magic line has spoken. Shout out to E-Rock. The magic line has absolutely spoken. I always try to say this, guys. I know they play out a lot. But of course, I have to be somewhat responsible here. I don't want anyone to see this and be like, if Frankie draws this line, that is exactly what price has to do. They don't play out all the time. They oftentimes do. But when I draw these are obviously rough guesses on what price action will look like. And really what I'm focused on, I don't know if you're going to come up here, then down, then up, then down, then up, then down. Really what I'm trying to point out in these lines, if you're in the premium, is of course, if we get down in here, we put in the lower lows, we get the 1 hour bullish divergences and down, right? That is going to be the confirmation I'm looking for. But yeah, the magic line is kind of creepy. I should start saving these so we can pull them back up and see how accurate they are. But yeah, just full disclosure, that is not something obviously to just copy trade. But I think you know that. Let's see. I'm late, 1.3x speed. Say prayers for me. Shout out to Neon Visual. That's a daring task to take on, my friend. Yeah, shout out to M-Dog says, looks like lower highs and lower lows, lower highs, though. Yeah, we are still obviously in a downtrend, right? We have not broken structure yet. Like I said, really first, I'd like to see a crack at the 61K level. And then eventually, right, you're kind of just running into resistance, flip 62K. That's really where we can start to look for a break back into our upper volume profile. At that point, once we start getting above that daily MPOC, POC is next. Potential resistance, get above that. We could still, again, I don't know what money flow is going to look like up here. If we start to see money flow shape up and look good, we'll have a better idea of if this is likely to fill or not. But again, right, this has already hit TP1 all the way down here. So this is already a safe trade. If I stop out, right, of course, I do have to go over the bearish case because we are in a downtrend. You got your 30-minute money flow trying to cross over. I wish I can give you guys a clear read on this. We got the daily green dot printing, 90 and 80-minute money flow. You got the red dot looking to print, right? So this would not shock me if you get a little bit more of a pullback once we print this red dot. Money flow technically trending up. But again, this has been very, very, very choppy. This is just the trading environment that we're in right now, guys. It's rough. It's not a, again, when I like to see this, what I like to see here is if we have the daily green dot, right, we have the 45-minute money flow beautifully crossing into the green, the 80 and 90-minute perfectly following suit, 1 hour perfectly following suit, which, it's not. It's trying to come up. It's coming back out. This is still a very, very choppy environment. 2 hour in the green, 3 hour trying to come up, 4 hour trying to come up, 5 hour trying to come up, 6 hour just still pretty deep in the red here. Another thing we can look at is we do have some medium time frame bullish divergences as well, not just the 1 hour into the key level. You have technical bullish divergences here on the 6 hour, the 8 hour, even the 10 hour printing that bullish divergence. So, you got some things on your side here for the long, right? Like I'm holding the long. I can't guarantee this is going to play out for that massive move into these other upper profiles. But again, it's already in profit. We've already hit TP1. So we'll see. It's kind of like, if it plays out, beautiful. If not, no big deal, right? We've already hit TP1. So if we do end up just rolling back over here, guys, there are our next key levels to the downside. We do still have the daily at about 57.3. Let me take off some of these profiles. Right, and again, when we look at this from a horizontal perspective, right, like next major level, 62 to 62.5. Above that, next level, 64 to 64.5. When we just look at this from a key level perspective, these are the traps that we set. 1, 2, right? Trap to the downside, 2 traps to the upside. So not that you can't take scalps here at the local value area high. If you're in a short from that value area high, I would have to say that is a valid place to take a trade, right? Especially if you're looking at the lower time frames. You're at the value area high. I'm never going to criticize at least shorting into a value area high, right? Not longing into it. This is resistance. But, just looking at this from a very simple key level perspective, right? Trap number 1, trap number 2. Get above here, right? Very nice possibility you could push up here. Both opportunities to look for pullbacks. And then depending on what our money flow looks like, right? If money flow, let's say this is our, I'll just use this for an example, right? Let's say as we're pushing into this level, our money flow is crossing green. This makes me anticipate a potential pullback for a potential scalp, right? But I would overall, based off money flow indicates the overall trend. I would overall be looking for higher lows and higher highs to continue the trend to the upside. If money flow is not looking like that, right? Maybe we have the low time frame money flow, say that's your 0 line, in the green crossing red, right? This would be a little bit more indicative of a bigger pullback. I just don't know what money flow is going to look like when we get up there. So to the downside, the next major key levels, let me pull these up. Got your, really the only things we have down here, guys. We've already bounced off the monthly MPOC. Underneath that is going to be the daily, and this is a pretty wide zone of support, sitting between about 57,343 and 56.5. Weekly MPOC and daily horizontal. This is a pretty large zone of support, right? When you're just looking at this as a high time frame, we draw this as a massive zone of support a million times. You even have the weekly down here at about 54, 55K. So from looking at this at let me just take these off to clean up the chart, right? When we look at the major support down below, we're bouncing off the top of this zone. So if we break back down the next major levels, I'll just drag this because these are tapped. The daily, and again, I am not necessarily going to be looking for a long here with my big stop loss of 5% below the low. I like to break these down into more local setups where I can have a nice tight stop loss, some nice local targets to take profit on, and then if it rolls over, you can get stopped out in profit. I did not take this trade with my stop loss all the way below this major support level. This is just too big of a stop for me. I would have to take a super small position size. So I will kind of separate these into 3 separate levels, and there's not a lot of confluence here. I mean, even this, what is this? This is like a 2%. This is a little bit better, but I will probably be viewing this as the daily alone. $57,323, right? That is going to be your only other technical support underneath you. And then once we lose that, right, I'd probably look at this as more of a local setup with a nice tight stop loss. And then if that ends up coming up and stopping out, next level sitting down at about $56,500. So I'm just going to mark this off for simplicity's sake. Just like to let you guys know I do view these as separate levels, but the big zone is really going to be sitting here between $57,323 and $56,500. That's going to be a zone. Who knows? Maybe we come down. If we come down, crack out the low, maybe consolidate there a little bit, can find some local setups for a potentially bigger push to the upside. Monthly MPOC has been tapped, so it's very hard for me to say that I'd be interested in another tap of this level. It's already, it was naked. Tapped it, got the bounce. I don't typically like these levels for big moves on a second touch. So at that point, right, if we do come back down, just zoom in here, I really would prefer to break down the level and tap into the fresh support. Does that make sense? So that is your next major trap to the downside. Major traps to the upside are the ones that I just marked out. And then once we start losing that, we can start looking down towards like 55 to 54K, which of course is confluent with our 2021 macro value area high, as well as our 300-week moving average. Right? So again, I'm not saying necessarily this has to be the bottom of the bear market, but of course, when we can see that key level, we wait for it, and we can make some money on that push up, right? You don't need a big move to make a decent amount of money, right? Something like this is plenty to make some money. And then if it turns into something bigger, which I am very cautious of not being the case, but, if we end up pushing above the highs, right? And then we can maybe turn that little day trader scalp into a bigger swing, and we will identify that price action on the way up to figure out how I want to manage that trade. But overall, if we push back down, you still have major support here on the higher time frames. We'll see if we have to come down and hit that 300-week moving average, but, there's a lot of levels in here, which makes the, it's very hard for me to say, like, oh, we have, like, a nice tight cluster between 57.3 and 56K, right? Like, that would be a little bit of a tighter level. These are very, very spread out, so I just tend to view those as separate levels. But overall, from a higher time frame perspective, we're still above major support on top of that value area high from 2021, and we'll see what happens. The hope here is that, even if we push lower, we can still potentially print our weekly bullish divergences, right? This is still not invalidated just yet, right? So if we push down here, major support, potentially weekly bullish divergence continuing to print. The worrisome kind of the warning sign here is to break inside the value area high and being unable to get out. Once we can't get out of here, this turns into resistance, right? Then we can start looking down towards about 48 to 47K, which is still a major level. I have this gold on the chart for a reason. This is a very important level. If we start losing this, it is, in my opinion, going to be the time to start looking down towards some of those bigger macro lower targets in the low 40s and 30s. Does that make sense? But very nice. We'll keep an eye here on the local price action. Take off that moving average real quick. Let me come back into chat real quick. We got all the good people in the house today. Shout out to Nick Dunn. Yeah, got some OGs tuning in. Always love when the OGs show up. What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back to the pretty boring Bitcoin charts right now. Still overall just chopping around. Let's see. Shout out to Alexandra G. Welcome in. Welcome in. Shout out to ZX said Bitcoin is so trash. Hey, up, down. We get paid either way, baby. We get paid either way. Shout out to the song. I haven't played that song in a while. Yeah, shout out to Gen Z said, when in doubt with Market Cipher B, trust in the key levels. Of course, right? Market Cipher B was chopped up yesterday. I'm just waiting for that next key level. There it is. Absolutely beautifully right on track here. Actually, nice to see this play out past TP1 into the value area high. Let's see. Shout out to Wick589. Speaking of OGs, welcome in. Welcome in. Shout out to Soul Stasher says, do you hold BTC or only trade spot/perp? No, I hold long-term BTC as well. 65 or 57. Shout out to Abdul. That is the $1 million question. But yeah, let's see the poll. Will it hold? Oh man, it's like 50-50, baby. We got 51% of people saying send it to Goblin Town, which don't blame, because again, we are still in a bearish trend here, right? Locally, in order to invalidate this lower high, right? We got to get on top of this 786. Once we could flip this 786 sitting at about $60,040, right? We could say, hey, invalidated lower high. Let's take out the next. Let's take out this high right here. So we'll see. Right now we are playing around in that golden pocket 786. So again, I'm not. The level was down here. I'm not telling you to long Bitcoin. Number one, we're at the 786. Number two, you're at that local value area high. So you've tapped that, right? We really do not want to get stuck underneath this level. Come on. Break out here. Let's get it. And again, I wish I could give a little bit of a clearer view on money flow here. 1 hour, up, back down, red dot printing as well. So this could just be like a short-term pullback kind of situation. But this money flow is just, all this money flow is just super chopped up. 1 hour trying to come back out, 2 hour in the green, 3 hour trying to come up, 4 and 5 hour trying to come up, 6 hours still deep in the red, but we got the bull divs, right? So, again, not all bull divs are created equal. Bull divs are always going to make me anticipate some kind of a move to the upside, right? But it's really the money flow that helps that bullish divergence turn into a big trend, right? So here's your lower lows. There's your higher lows, right? So, of course, you're going to be looking for some kind of a bounce there. And, again, that was the first TP that we looked at in the premium. Very high probability rotation into that value area low off that bull div, right? But to see the continuation, really what you want to see is that money flow beautifully trending up, which it's really not doing, right? Money flow trending up, and it comes back out. You got the red dot printing here. So it's a little bit sus, right? But again, doesn't mean you can't capitalize on these ups and downs to make some money, which is beautiful, right? I think I always tell people being a trader feels like cheating, right? Most people are like, I got to leave in the bear market, come back in the bull market to make money. Absolutely not. Not only can you make money on these little pushes to the upside, but you can also make tons of money on the way down. If you've been here for a while, you know that's not a surprise. But if we can start to break out here, right? You got the bull div. If that money flow starts crossing green, then we can say, hey, any pullbacks could be likely lackluster retracements, higher lows, higher highs, right? So we're not going to be worried about those pullbacks if money flow is coming up. But when you have a bull div and money flow is not coming up, right, it could just be a lackluster bounce for lower highs and lower lows. We're kind of stuck in no man's land here because the money flow is not giving us a clear sign. If we saw this money flow starting to, for example, right, I'll come into bar replay mode to make this nice and simple to understand. Right, like if this was absolutely perfect, hey, money flow is coming up. We got the bull divs. We got the bounce. Money flow is coming up. We could potentially look for higher lows and higher highs. Where are you going to look? Golden pocket 786 retracement. If we could push in here and get a bounce for a continuation up, really what I'd like to see is a bounce. And on that push up, right, really what you want to see is that money flow crossing green. If that money flow was crossing green as we got this bounce, which of course we did get the push into the golden pocket, and we continued up to break the high, but that money flow is just getting a little bit suspicious. It's coming back out, right? If this was beautifully about to cross into the green, I'd feel really good about a breakout out of this range. But we just simply don't have that. So it's really hard for me to feel confident in that move, which is why we were being careful on that long position on the way up. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes when it's like that, I could be like, hey, this looks really good. Let's send this continuation of the trend. But, of course, we're kind of just stuck here waiting for this to settle out. So I am still open for another drop to the downside. I can't predict if this is definitely going to break out or not just because of the choppy money flow. But again, doesn't stop us from making that money on that little push up. Shout out to Wick589 said, nothing quite like a Colombian caterpillar to get you going. Shout out to Wick. Colombian caterpillar is crazy, bro. Shout out to Rudy. He said, what's up, Frankie? Have a great day, bro. Shout out to Rudy. He said that yesterday. Welcome in, brother. I don't know if he's just stopping in, dropping a chat, and leaving, but shout out to Rudy. Welcome in. That is Rudy with a Y. I'm in a short. Shout out to Muhammad. Like I said, locally. Of course, if you're shorting at that value area high. Now, do we have any, I guess you did have slight bearish divergences into the value area high. Already hit the TP1, which would be technically the PLC, kind of close to the high there. But yeah, I mean, as always, right? Like, am I going to look to long this value area high? Absolutely not, right? I'm looking to long on the deviations below and then look to be in the trade by the time we get up there and push through, right? Already in profit, flip the low, let that long continue to play out. Whether you're long from the low, I talked about this yesterday. If you were longing below a value area, typically TP1 is going to be at the value area low, right? Because this is always going to be resistance until proven otherwise. So you might want to lock in profit there in case you wind up getting the big drop in continuation down, and that ends up being a lower high. But the beautiful thing is TP1, stop loss to break even, guaranteed winning trade. If the uptrend does continue, once you flip this value area low, you're already in profit, and you have a high probability of seeing that continuation to the upside. When you're in from the value area low, which is also valid, right? You can wait for the flip of that value area low. This is absolutely the best tool to be trading. Once you get inside that value area, flip it into support. You can always get an entry there inside the value area, right? You can argue this is a little bit of a safer entry because you're already getting accepted into the value, and we show this every day, right? These rotations are very high probability from the low to the high, just like they are from the high to the low. But you can either look for an entry there on the flip into the value area, a little bit of a safer entry, but not as good of an entry, right? Your entry is all the way up at 59,170 rather than down here if you're entering it on the monthly, right? You're going to have a much better lower entry down here than up here. But you can argue, right, If you enter here, you got to be careful of the lower highs. If you enter here, you have a better chance of seeing that rotation of the full profile. So the way I handle that is if I get in below the volume profile, I just use that value area low as a TP1. If I'm in from the value area low, I will use the point of control as a TP1 or the value area high as a TP1. Or you could do TP1, TP2. So yeah, again, all that to say, this is not where I long. I'm either longing into the value area low or below, taking profit on the way up. Does that make sense? So there we go. We'll keep an eye on this. I'll mark off this local key level in case we do see that 1 hour red dot give us a bigger pullback down below the value area low. In this case, if I were not already holding the long position, I would not really be interested. I mean, it would be really hard for me to take a trade up here this close to the value area low. I would almost have to wait for some kind of a significant pullback and then look for a long at the value area low to get a nice entry on that higher low. Does that make sense? Now, you might not get that, right? In that case, I would just have missed that trade. But for me personally, just like I said, the higher time frames, we showed the key level, the traps to the upside and traps to the downside. I would say locally, this would be the next significant trap to the downside. 59,177 to 58,979. So there we go. Just simply playing within this profile. And we will take a look at, we'll take a look at some of the altcoins. I haven't really been spending a lot of time on the altcoins, obviously, because they're all going to depend on what Bitcoin's doing right now. Let's see. Shout out to Serpent says, what is your argument that it doesn't lose that level immediately? Confluence, shout out to Serpent. I don't know exactly which level you're talking about. I guess the answer to your question would be, I don't know if it's going to lose this level immediately. There's no guarantee this is going to hold up. But again, right, if you come down here and there are no confirmations to look for the trade, then there would be no trade to take. If I saw, and even if you see the confirmations, right, if we get down here, there's no guarantee every single trade is going to play out, right? I get stopped out of trades too sometimes. So let's say I was looking for a long position down here. Even if I saw my confirmations, there's a chance that I go ahead and take that trade. Right, let's say I look for the, whatever it is. Let's just, for argument's sake, not saying this is exactly what I would look for. Let's just say I was looking for a 15-minute bullish divergence. I could take that trade off the 15-minute bull div. Everything could look great, and then it stops me out, right? There is an element of randomness to the market that you can't predict. That is where your risk management comes in. If you are just going to take trades based on a key level and think that because it's a key level, it has to hold up, and you're going to take that trade and it has to play out, you're going to lose all your money very, very quickly. You have to manage, people will say, well, what happens if this doesn't play out? What if this doesn't hold? Well, then you just get stopped out. It's the same thing as the long position down here, right? Like if we got this bull div and it didn't end up getting the bounce, what happens if it doesn't hold up? You just get stopped out of the trade. You lose the trade, right? You do not chase trying to find setups that are guaranteed to play out. You're going to lose all your money. I promise you that. Speaking from experience. So I guess the answer to that question is I don't know if this is the level you're talking about. I don't know if this is just going to immediately fail. I would have a better idea when price comes in here, when I can look at the order flow and the confirmations. I could say, well, hey, if I have major confirmations down here, there's a higher chance that it'll play out, but that's not a guarantee, right? It could still stop me out. But the key there is, what if it doesn't play out? You manage the risk, right? When I take this trade, I would take it. I'm not going to take this because I'm already holding the long from lower. But if I take this, right, I'm taking it on defined risk, right? When I enter that trade, before I enter it, I know how much I'm going to lose. And, I always tell people 1 to 3% of your account is like a safer amount to risk. That way you're not getting, take 2 trades and blow up your entire account like most people do. So, if you get stopped out, you're going to lose 1 to 3% of your account. You already know the risk there, right? And as long as that's within your risk management strategy, you're not going to get wrecked, right? A lot of newbie traders will think well, if it doesn't play out, then I'm going to get wrecked. That should not be the case, right? If that is the case or that's how you view things, I would recommend completely stepping off the charts and going back to the, go back to the classroom, start to learn about risk management and how to stay profitable long term. So yeah, I guess the simple answer is I don't know if that's going to hold up. And I surely don't know right now. I would have to see the confirmations. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. Where would I see the invalidation? There would be 2 places where you can look at this, right, depending on your style of trading. You could either look at these as 2 separate setups. You could look at the long at the golden pocket, in which case, you want to give yourself a little bit of breathing room. say you come down, right? You get the confirmations. You know, once you lose that golden pocket, the next likely place for price to go is the 786. So you could either look at that as, you know, 2 setups, and I'm not telling you to take this trade, right? You have to understand what to look for in order to take those trades, right? Like in the Discord, when we come down here, we want to see specifically a break of the low with bull divs on the 1 hour and down, right? So if we wound up coming down here, right, that was down here. If we wound up coming down here and we just nuked through the level and there were no bullish divergences forming, well, there's no trade to be taken, right? There's no confirmation. At that point, it is unlikely that you're going to hold the level and you'll just melt down to the next key support. But when, you know, it's an if this, then that, right? And I guess that's maybe the best answer for this question, right? This would be an area of interest, right? Not an area to set a limit order and blindly long. You cannot just blindly long off of key levels. I would not recommend that. I know our key levels slap very often, but they don't all hold up. So this is an area of interest. As I say, a trap. Trading is a game of trapping, not a game of hunting. So if you came down here, right? Okay, now your alert goes off. Now you're interested in looking to see if you have a lower time frame setup, right? Looking for your actual confirmations. If there's no setup or confirmation, there's no reason to take that trade, and it's going to be more likely that you melt down to those lower levels. So invalidation for the golden pocket would be losing the golden pocket, and then you're very likely to go to the 786. You could look at that as potentially a second setup. I'm not saying, again, I'm not interested in taking these trades, but just from a theory perspective, you know, technically, if you're going to long a golden pocket for a higher low and a higher high, the invalidation is that 786. You're either going to put in a higher low here or here. Once you lose that 786, you're looking to break structure to the downside. So technically, the 786 is the line in the sand. Whether you want to look at that as like, whether you typically look at that as one setup or 2 setups is totally up to you. I typically look at them as separate setups. It's just my style of trading. Hopefully that makes sense. So there you go. But to be clear, please do not just long random levels. Could very easily melt through that level. Let's see. Shout out to Serpent said, it's a higher probability, better setup than most of the streams I'm going through, though. I appreciate you taking into account these swings and tight stops. Yeah, of course, bro. Yeah, like I will never get up here and be like, guys, this is the level to long. Even here, right? Even though I say I'm interested, you know, down here I'll say, hey, this is a trap. I'm interested in a long here, but I still have to see the confirmations, right? We talk about that more in the Discord. You know, I would never tell somebody like, that's the level to long, guys. When we get down here, take a long position. I will never do that. I don't give signals. You know, if it was that easy, right, just watch a YouTuber get signals. I wish it was that easy, man. I would have never learned how to trade. But yeah, no problem, bro. I'm here to inform and educate. Let's see. When to know to top blast the chart. Shout out to Muhammad. I don't know. I try my best not to top blast. Of course, right? Like, especially, this is why I love the volume profiles, right? Am I going too long? For anybody new here, right? Within the volume profiles, and, you know, to be fair here, we can now extend this to the right because we are now back inside value. So let me actually just go ahead and adjust this. This actually gives us a little bit more confluence on that golden pocket. Reason I am extending this profile to the right, I stopped it here because we pushed down, but now we're back inside value, right? So we have our fair value here, tap right into the value area high, which still was the same on the other range, but just slightly changes it. When you look inside these profiles, guys, this is the fair value for the asset, right? Buyers and sellers agree this is expensive, this is cheap. This is expensive, this is cheap. This is expensive, this is cheap. This is expensive. They push it down here, they push it up here, push it down here, push it up here, push it down here, push it up here, push it down here. Anytime this is why I love the volume profiles, because, you know, I would never recommend trading the chart blindly. Again, like I just said, do not just trade random key levels. But when you take, you know, when you're looking at this as overvalued, this is typically where I am looking, right? Keyword looking, interested, area of interest, trap. This is where I am interested in looking for shorts. This is where I am interested in looking for longs, right? And of course, it's going to look a little different every time. Sometimes you get a slight deviation, then sometimes you get a bigger deviation into key levels. But at the end of the day, if I'm looking for longs and shorts, I'm going to have a better opportunity to look for shorts. And you can think of this inside the value area is fair value. Outside of the value area to the upside is overvalued or overbought. Underneath the value area is oversold, right? Like an RSI. You can think of it very simply like that. So I'm going to be better off looking for shorts as I'm coming into a premium or an overbought area. And then if we fail and get back inside the range, the volume profiles give you a very, very beautiful roadmap. Get back into the range, can't get out. Next stop is the POC. Once you hit the POC, of course, depending on your context, sometimes you can get big bounces off of this level. But traditionally speaking, as long as your money flow is on your side, once you get into that POC, eventually the rotation of that volume profile is very high probability, and the next stop is the value area low. Now you're in an oversold environment, right? And again, you want to see confirmations here, not just blindly longing. Let's just say you have bull divs down here, you're oversold, right, relative to the recent price action. If this is looked at as cheap and this is looked at as expensive, I might want to buy the cheap asset where it is. I understand that it is typically trading between this fair value. It is cheap here. I will buy it and ride it back into the fair value. Once we get above the POC, you go to the upper end of the fair value. Get back above, back in, can't get out, can't get out. POC is next, lose the POC, value area low. Auction market theory, guys. This is the way the market moves. These are not random magical lines. These are all based off of volume. It is the best way to trade, in my opinion. Right, and this puts me in a situation where I will not top blast. Right, I am never going to look for a long. Right, I will say in very specific situations, if I'm looking at the volume, looking at the order flow, maybe I'll try to catch a breakout trade. But the way I trade is basically contrarian. People will top blast the bottom. The top, and then that is typically where I'm looking for shorts. Trap the longs, take a short. As those longs get wrecked, they pay out our short, and vice versa, right? This is the bread and butter. I love the volume profiles because not only does it give you high probability trade setups, but it also gives you a lot, right? Within CHOP, you'll have a lot of opportunities to short at the highs, long at the lows, short at the highs, long at the lows, etc. And then oftentimes, right, once we're in a long position, right, let's just say, for example, we had all our money flow beautifully trending up. We took the long down here. We're already filling our value. Let's say money flow was beautifully looking, and we were looking for a bigger trend to the upside or a high probability of a big trend to the upside. Well, in that case, guess what? Your entry is at the bottom, and then you can let that little range trade, right? We just hit little singles and doubles within the range, and then eventually once you get up here, and once that money flow starts looking good for a breakout, you can hold that for a grand slam or a home run. Shooting for grand slams and home runs constantly will blow up your account. You want to go for singles and doubles and let the grand slams and home runs hit you by surprise. This is perfectly exemplified back here. We had our simple volume profile that we were trading, absolutely smashing this thing in the premium for every dollar it was worth. At this point, right, just for example, shorting the high, right? Shorting the high, looking for the push into the value area low, right? And vice versa. Again, I would have to go back and show, if this was the exact trades that we took, but, traditionally speaking, or typically, shorting the highs, longing the lows, shorting the highs, longing the lows, right? And then you ask yourself, well, how do I know whether this is going to be another rotation to the bottom, right? Go from the high to the low, high to the low, high to the low. Or how do I know if this is going to continue up for a grand slam, right? You have a single, a double, a single. And then you take another one here. How do you know if you should close it here or let it run? Well, you're going to be looking at your money flow, right? If you want to break out of this range, you want to see this money flow in the green. And here specifically, we were looking at the daily money flow, right? Just bing bong around the range, single, double, single, maybe another single that has the potential to turn into a grand slam. Why did this turn into a grand slam, and why did we anticipate this breakout of the profile? It had everything to do with your money flow. Money flow indicates the overall trend. Very simple. And at the end of the day, even if you close the trade here, well, guess what? Still an awesome trade. So that's really the essential kind of, theory behind my strategies, right? We just trade these ranges, make our money, and then eventually once we get up here, we can look at the chart, right? Once you get to that resistance, you're not just saying, oh, I have to close the trade. Analyze your price action, right? Money flows crossing into the green. This is very likely this is going to continue putting in higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. So why would I not hold a portion of that trade with my stop loss at break even and let that home run play out? And if it doesn't, if it just, let's say the money flow fakes you out totally and the TA doesn't play out, we all know every indicator and every level does not play out 100% of the time. TA is not 100% accurate. If it winds up faking you out, you can get stopped out in profit, and it just winds up being another single or double. Does that make sense? Right, so we use the money flow to identify the bigger moves, and then we just use those ranges and the lower time frames to identify the ebbs and flows inside the range. Does that make sense? So it would be the same thing here. I'm not going to draw the positions, right? But short, long, right? How do I know if this is going to play out? It's a little bit difficult because our money flow is kind of chopped up, but assuming that we break out of here and the money flow continues up, maybe that turns into a big trade. We've already hit TP1 and technically a TP2 up here. If it stops out, well, beautiful, you get stopped out in profit. If it turns into a home run, it's a risk-free trade, right? Or a guaranteed winning trade. You could sleep well at night knowing that, well, hey, if the trend continues up, I continue to cash out. If the trend goes down and it stops me out, I still make money. That's how I personally remain profitable over time. And the volume profiles make it very, very, very easy on the eyes. So there you go. Shout out to Jose, said Frankie is the GOAT. He always has the right idea, even if his trade doesn't play out in his direction. There are a lot of very questionable creators on YouTube that seem like they're almost guessing. Shout out to Jose. I think just statistically speaking, most humans you talk to are just guessing. I appreciate that, bro. And yeah, I never sit here. Yesterday we talked about how I got stopped out of my long position. I don't win every single trade. I would never come up here, guys. It'd be like, I hope it's obvious if someone's coming up on YouTube saying they win every single trade. That is obviously not true. They're just lying. And I always share when I lose, right? I took this trade within this volume profile from the low to the high. I decided to hold this and very, very transparently let you know I was not taking profit, right? The reason for that was because money flow looked pretty okay, and I wanted to hold it for a home run. I decided not to take profit, and I kept my stop loss where it was. Price came back down, and this is where people will say, well, what happens if it doesn't play out? Well, guess what happened? I got stopped out for a loss. I took a small loss, right? But when you have shorts that have been running for much higher, I always say judge your trades, not whether if they played out or in your direction or not, but if you stuck to your plan, right? If I am in massive profits on my short position that I closed down here in full, right? I closed this for like 5 figures. I think it was like 15 grand, right? In additional profits on top of the profits I already had locked in. If I lose $1,000 here, I am still up, let's just say $14,000, right? So I don't mind taking that small loss because I made a ton of money on the way down, right? Even if I stopped out of this one at a loss, right? I would still take a very small loss and still be profitable on that move, right? Small wins, small losses, big wins, right? So, when it comes to risk management, again, I talk about this very often, right? Let's just say you have 5 trades. You can lose 3 of these trades and still remain profitable, right? Oh, I lost a trade. Oh, I lost a trade. Oh, I lost a trade. You just lost 3 times in a row. Bad trader? Not necessarily. I mean, if you're getting liquidated, and you lose half of your account here, then it's going to be hard to make those winners pay you out enough to cover your losses plus profit, right? But if you're taking a genuinely small loss, and let's say this one hits your final TP, and then this one winds up being a runner, right? These winners are going to cover these losses, right? So, like, if you have a losing streak, especially if you want to actually, learn how to be or if you want to eventually turn trading into your full-time job, you're going to have days where you have multiple losses in a row. You're going to have weeks where you have multiple. You're going to have losing weeks, losing months, right? Doesn't necessarily mean you have to change your strategy. It's one of the biggest mistakes that traders make. They think, oh, I lost 3 trades in a row. Let me find a different strategy. No, you have to let the time play out. You might be trading a bad strategy if that's the case. I don't know. But if you're using a good strategy, and volume profiles are one of the most profitable strategies you can use, or one of the most profitable tools, you can have 3 losses in a row, right? Like if I lost this and this trade, that's 2 losses in a row, but I'm still up massively from those shorts, right? Because I'm not allowing myself to take massive losses, right? This is the most important part of trading, right? It's really what keeps you profitable. The only thing you have control over is your capital management or your risk management. You don't have control over, you can have a perfect setup with all your confirmations, all the compliments in the world, and sometimes Bitcoin will just step on that, right? And it just doesn't matter. So you need to make sure that you're stopping that loss, controlling it, right? Down here, I took 3 losses in a row. I talked about this yesterday. I actually pulled up because I save all of our trades from the premium in this folder, right? I had my short from $81,000, and on the way down, I took these 3 longs. As you can see, did not play out, did not play out, did not play out. Tiny loss, tiny loss, tiny loss, massive gain, right? I look at these as like free trades. Because if I get stopped out for the small loss, I know I'm going to remain profitable, not only because I'm already up massively on the short, but as we dump, I'm going to continue to profit on that bigger trade from above. right? So do I look at this and go, oh my God, I got to stop using the volume profiles. I got to stop using my strategy because it didn't work? No. And even these trades, shout out to, I forgot who said it. I appreciate you because I do typically have a good idea. I took all of these in the Discord, letting them know, not giving them a signal, just letting them know, hey, guys, I'm going to take a shot here. I'm taking a shot here. I'm taking a shot here on all of these trades. I mentioned these are lower probability. I almost expect to get stopped out of them. Why even take the trade? Well, it's kind of like a free trade, right? So, yeah, more often than not, I will I have an idea of whether that's going to play out or not, right? We had kind of wonky divs down here. Money flow is kind of coming out, so not a high chance. But I was just looking for that to be a little counter trend rally to make a little bit of extra money on the day and then continue profiting on my short. Little counter trend rally. You know, I guess you can call that a little bit greedy. I wasn't just happy making the money on the way down. I needed to try to catch these retracements. But yeah, just to show, right? Like I lose trades too. And you should not be afraid of losing. If you get into trading and you are afraid of losing, it might not be the game for you, right? You have to understand how to manage the losses. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's see. Shout out to Loki said, hey, Frankie, by chance, do you think you'll make any of those old school dad hats again? Like one of these? Yeah, we'll make some of these. Maybe we'll drop them like limited, because these were not as popular as the traditional Frankie Candles hats, which are still available on FrankieCandlesTrading.com. But yeah, these were not as popular. Maybe we'll drop like a limited quantity of them. We got the Hikinashi trend candles on there, and it says CandleMafia on the back. Got the CandleMafia on the back, baby. Let's go. But yeah, maybe we'll think about this. Merch is lower on the priority list for us, but yeah, maybe we'll. I was actually talking to Mrs. Candles about that. We might make her the head of merch soon. But anyway, Richardson 112s are the best. Yes, they are the Louis Vuitton of hats. They are the best hats. Not this one, the other one I had on. But there we go. Let's see. Is the money flow indicator free? Shout out to Soul Stasher. This is not. This is a paid indicator. It is Market Cipher. You can save some money and support the channel if you use the link in the description down below. But yeah, this one is paid. But again, I will always preface that with you do not necessarily 100% need this to be profitable. You could trade raw price action if you want. But obviously, it is a huge part of my analysis. Let's see. People wonder why price isn't going up because demand is being bought from institutions and they're just moving the value from one wallet to another, so there isn't any spot buying. Yeah, shout out to Always. Little OTC deals, not going to move the market like that. Still have mine from like 5 years ago. Let's go. Shout out to Loki. repping the vintage CandleMafia merch. I love it. All right, so let's go ahead. I'll jump into some of the lower time frames, some of the altcoins here. Now, obviously, we looked at Solana yesterday. Next, I mean, there's not really a huge update here on the altcoins, guys. Solana's biggest level of resistance is still going to be sitting at around $80. Pull this fib from the high to the low. Pull it from the lower high. Yeah, pushing into the golden pocket. So I would still say this is really going to be your next critical level of support here on Solana. You're tapping into the golden pocket. Let me check money flow here real quick. 16-hour attempting to cross into the green. 12-hour attempting to cross into the green. Daily money flow also coming up here. Now, again, I am taking money flow with a little bit of a grain of salt here in this recent choppiness. But you do have a little bit of, we took a look at this yesterday, 10-hour money flow crossing into the green, weekly green dot printing. That is a Market Cipher B1/16 bullish setup, and you have the bull div. The only thing I'm not really super crazy about this, only reason I'm not crazy about it is we did front run that monthly MPOC. Unless I drew this like an absolute crayon eater, I will just double check that for sanity. Yeah, no, it is untapped. So you do still have, key level of support to the downside. Major high time frame is going to be about $58. And currently above us, we are tapping into the golden pocket. I will say money flow does look a little bit better than it does on Bitcoin. Got the 10-hour money flow crossover with the weekly green dot, that Market Cipher B1/16. 12-hour money flow coming up, 16-hour money flow coming up. Maybe that daily leaks into the green. That would be very nice. You have the bullish divergence, not on the daily, but you do have it on the weekly. So, I would say in order to see a much bigger continuation up here, number one, you got to get above this $80,000 to $82,000 zone. Stay inside the value area low. This would open the door to potentially come into the POC of the range at about 101.74. And of course, yesterday we did also cover the local levels. I don't just want to say if you flip this, you're definitely going to go here. Of course, we all know that's not guaranteed. But when we pull up our local volume profile, I already have this level marked out here. Yeah, you also have a daily MPOC in here as well. But let me just hide this real quick. All right, so you got the golden pocket. Let me make sure this is the same fib. So you got your golden pocket 786 sitting here. So if we get above this golden pocket, daily MPOC at 78.80. Biggest level is going to be $80 to $82, not 82,000. And then once we get back inside this range, we can look to come and bounce around the POC. Once we flip the POC, look to come into the value area low. At this point, if our daily money flow, very important on this push to the upside. Once we get above that value area low, if this daily money flow starts crossing green, that could be a good indication that we can continue a higher time frame trend to the upside. Once we start cracking out of this value area high at about $91, flipping this level, see if this is confluent with the 786. Absolutely is. Once you start flipping essentially this value area high at about $91, this would be the indication that you can now start targeting the higher POC, right? Because you're going to have those local targets in between you. And if you really wanted to simplify this and you're not paying attention to the local levels, you could always just look at the full retracement from the high to the low, right? Get up in here. That's a pretty good sign that you can continue up, but you still have these resistance levels. Once you flip this, send it to the POC at about 101.74. So you have your first range, and then you have, once you get out of the first range, you can then start looking at your second range and start targeting that POC. But I would say locally, this volume profile, I'll give you this so you can mark it off on your chart. I'll just give you the volume profile levels. Of course, you want to keep in mind you have the golden pocket and daily MPOC there. But value area low sitting here at about 81.35, POC sitting at $85, and then the value area high sitting at about $90 to $91. So no reason to be looking up towards the hundreds until you can get out of here. And again, money flow, I will say just from a binary perspective here, doesn't look as bad, right? 12-hour money flow. Am I very interested in looking for lower highs and lower lows when I have money flow crossing into the green? No, we use this money flow as a filter. Should we, again, for anyone who's new here, money flow is the simplest way, in my opinion. Of course, you can look at market structure, but this is the best way to identify whether the trend is going to continue up or down, right? When money flow is crossing into the red, and I'll try to show you on live price action here, when I see money flow trending out, I am looking for lower highs and lower lows. I am better off, right, when money flow is trending out, favoring the shorts to ride the trend, right? Once it crosses red, you're pretty much looking for the same thing, lower highs and lower lows. It continues, and then eventually we start to wiggle around here and shift into higher lows. So just like here, I look to favor the shorts. Here, to be quite honest, and I know this feels a little bit weird because Bitcoin does not look as good. Money flow crosses green. I mean, this keeps it open for potential pullbacks for higher lows and higher highs. So this actually does not look that bad. Now, again, what I recommend, long in the top of a major green candle like this, no, right? You want to catch it on the retracements. So we'll see what happens here. But I would say money flow does not look that bad here on Solana. If money flow looked like this, whoops. All right, if we were in a massive green wave and money flow was about to cross red, I'd be much more in the camp of saying, oh my God, guys, we're probably looking for high, low, lower high, lower low, right? If the money flow looked like this, which it doesn't. I flipped it upside down and changed the colors. So when it looks like this, it's like, all right, well, hey, this looks like where am I looking for the lower highs? I'm going to be looking at the golden pocket 786 right here or right here for a lower high, lower low. or a lower high, lower low, because money flow is coming out. We're not in that situation, right? So I to be honest, it's hard for me to say that this would be a big rejection. Doesn't mean it can't be, but money flow literally is coming up, which makes me more think higher lows and higher highs, just based off the analysis here. Again, that does not mean it's guaranteed to happen, but, you know, when we look at money flow like that, I mean, I'll try to find another situation here where we had a nice, right, money flow crosses red up here, big bounce, well, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, etc. Money flow starts crossing green, higher low, higher high, even though it was short-lived, right? Once you get the big drop, money flow starts trending back out, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. Does that make sense? Like even right here, money flow crosses over, even though we are in a bear market and it wasn't a big move. Money flow crosses green here. You're better off looking for higher lows, higher highs. Does that make sense? So money flow, very easy filter. I'd be more interested in longing pullbacks here rather than giga shorting this for a new low to come in. All right, let's see. Thanks. Yes, I shorted that golden pocket. All right. Well, there you go. I mean, again, you're shorting into resistance. I could say I like that. Again, it doesn't mean you can't take the shorts. I would just be a little bit more in the camp that, you know, this short might just be a little bit more short-lived, no pun intended, for higher lows and higher highs. And hey, if it winds up rolling over and it winds up shocking us and the money flow just completely rolls over, then hey, maybe you could turn that into a massive swing trade. But either way, right, like if you were telling me you were longing into that massive golden pocket, I'd be like, yikes, right? Like you've already had a move up. Like this is not the time to long, in my opinion. That would be what they call top blasting. Let's see. Short setup still the same, Frankie. Yeah, the major levels that I'm looking at for the shorts do still remain the same. We went over this in the beginning of the live stream for Bitcoin. My biggest levels, personally, remain at the golden pocket 786 with the POC and the value area high confluence. And then again, you do have the kind of intermediary local resistance right here, right? I would say it's not until, right, even if we get the push up here, like this could still be a little sweep of liquidity for another big drop down. Once we get above that, that's where, you know, we could be getting accepted into this profile for the bigger move up. Again, I'm not here to call exactly. I know sometimes we can do it. But again, right, I could come up here tomorrow. We're pushing into this level. I'm like, oh, we're inside the profile. I'm giga short from here, depending on what the chart looks like up here. Again, I don't know. I can't front run that. I need the information. But I would say the three big traps to the upside: number one, number two, number three, 61,383 to 61,883. I call it 61.3 to 62K, and then you have 62.5 to 63K. And then up here you have the 63.8, or call it like 64 to 64.5. Those are the traps. And again, what do I do here? Like, well, what about right now? Should I long or short? This is just not a place where I'm interested in a trade, right? I was interested for the push into the naked point of control or these levels above. Yesterday, if we had gotten the bounce and not hit my key levels for the move to the downside, I'd be looking for the shorts. So, you know, what do I do in a situation like this? I sit on my hands, I hold the trade from lower, and I wait for my next key targets. Very simple. Traps. The mouse comes in, a.k.a. price. If the mouse takes the bait, a.k.a. gives us confirmation, then we can take the trade. If not, we wait for the next trap. If the mouse takes the bait here, we'll take the trade. If not, we wait for the next one. Does that make sense? Trading is a game of trapping, not a game of hunting. Crazy thunder outside right now, guys. Oh, my God. Maybe that's a sign of a dump. Showing little signs of life here. Yeah, she's trying. She's trying. Come on, baby. Pushing back up against that value area high. And, see, I think I have this fib on the chart already. Yeah, back above the 786. So let's see. Break above this value area high and hold. Maybe we could take out the highs. And again, the next target would be sitting up here, 61.4 to, you know, about 62K. Take the golden pocket off the chart. We'll see. I'll set a little alert here while we take a look at Ethereum. Let's pop into ETH. Shout out to Nightmare says, Frankie, after watching you for a couple of years, I realized how pattern trading is kind of laughable compared to the volume profiles. Yeah, shout out to Nightmare. And it's just for one simple reason, right? I always say this, and I want to preface it with this. If you trade patterns and you make money, there is no reason to stop doing that. I'll just say that, right? But for me personally, the reason I don't trade patterns alone, and even if you do trade patterns and make money, I can almost guarantee you don't trade them alone. Listen, pattern trading is a very, very, very easy way to get beginner traders into the market, which is great, right? Like, patterns got me really excited in the beginning too, and you could argue if it wasn't explained simply to me like that, maybe I would have never gotten into it. But at the end of the day, the market does not know that it is in a bear flag, right, or a bear pennant. Right? The market does not know it's making this shape. That is not why the price moves, right? This is just a way to describe price action. Bearish consolidation. Does it mean nothing? No. It is something I will look at from time to time, but I'm always going to favor liquidity, order flow, volume profiles over something like a bear pennant, bull flag, bear flag. That's not to say that they don't break in the direction they're supposed to more often than they don't. I'm not saying it's invalid. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. But not all bear flags, not all bull flags are going to be created equal, right? And if you trade patterns, I know for a fact you've seen a bull flag not break up, right? You've seen bull flags break down, right? And that's why I just look at it through market structure and volume profiles. For example, everyone likes to point to the patterns that play out and not the ones that don't play out. All right, it's a lot better to back test and show people, look, this pattern broke up, right? Well, you're not talking about the ones that didn't play out. Like this, you could say this is a bear flag, right? Sure, right? I would agree with that. That is a bear flag. More likely to break down? Sure. I don't know the actual statistical odds, but sure, right? That is more likely to break down. The problem I have with this is not all bear flags are created equal, right? I look at these as, now in this case, I would already be looking for a fulfill this volume profile. So I would actually tend to agree with this bear flag and probably be saying the same thing as, hey, if you can't, break out, right, you're probably expecting this to fill this range in full from the high to the POC to the low. In which case, if I zoom out here, right, POC, what is my thought process here? My thought process is deviate above the high. That's where I'm looking for shorts. By the time I'm in this bear flag, I'm already playing around with the POC, looking for the fulfill the value area low. So there are times where I would say a bear flag is more likely to play out, but I'm not looking at this bear flag saying we're going down because of a bear flag. I'm just saying, oh, nice, we're flagging out here, playing around with the POC. Money flow's coming out. I'm expecting the low. It has nothing to do with the pattern. It's just a way to kind of describe the price action, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's like the market does not know it's making a shape on the chart. But of course, if you're making money doing that, don't stop. I'm not here to hate on a strategy. You have to use what works good for you. Let's see. Shout out to ZX said, to be honest, trading crypto is trash. Shout out to ZX. I cannot agree with that, brother. I mean, I at least recently, I guess, you're in somewhat choppy price action, but there's money to be made on all of these moves. I love trading crypto. Shout out to Extromus says, if people wait for 50 to 40K, what if it doesn't drop there and the train goes away? It's a question you got to ask yourself. There we go. Alert set. Not really set at a technical level here. Just wanted to see if we would continue pushing up. All right, so pretty nice. That 1 hour red dot did not really give us a move. Money flow trying to curve back up. Still pushing into resistance. Again, I would never recommend longing into resistance, even if we did continue up. But let's see. Definitely above that 786. That's for dang sure. See if we can crack this. Put an alert here on this high. See if we can start gravitating towards our next target. 61 to about 62K. Come on. It'd be really nice if we could get this money flow to shape up. 45 minute. Ugh, man, why is this so deep in the red? You have the green dot on the 12 hour. Still got 2 hours left. I don't know if you're going to get the 45-minute money flow to cross into the green in the next 2 hours. But if you could have potential market size for B116 bullish setups. I would also like a bit of a bigger retracement just for the simple fact of if I'm going to take another short, I really would prefer a much bigger retracement to the upside rather than shorting the local levels. 30-minute, I don't think we have the 8-hour green dot yeah, it's confirmed. So no market site for B116th there. But we'll see here. Definitely pushing into resistance. So again, and I'm not saying you can't continue up, but like for me personally, I would have to say, right, like at this point, like I explained before, like is this where I would long? No, I long below the value area. I short above the value area. And again, I'm not saying I'm going to take a short here, but I know there's probably people trying to trade this move. You know, we'll see. Even if I were not in a long position, guys, I would be looking at this, and would I be saying, oh my God, we're breaking out long? No. I probably, now does that mean I would definitely be taking a short? Not necessarily. But even if this continues up, right, I would not long that. I would just be like, I would just wait for the next trap, right? If anything, I would have to look for a short. Maybe a little 30-minute. Yeah, money flow back in the green. Super choppy here. Let's see here. Shout out to Muhammad, said I'm $40 from getting liquidated. Why? Why no stop loss, brother? Why no stop loss? Unless you're using you take a small position size and you're using your liquidation as a stop loss. But dang. The chart is reacting like the Fed chaos speech was wildly dovish. Yeah, people pattern trading never take into account money flow, so they're sitting expecting for some major breakout when there's no volume. Yeah, and that's like my major thing too, right? Like if I have, for example, I'll just draw this on the chart so it's nice and clean. For example, like let's say let's say I have a value area high, a POC, a value area low. Let's say I'm trading this volume profile. I'm pushing into the value area high, right? And then I start kind of consolidating up here underneath the value area high. Let's say it's creating some kind of a bull flag or something like that. But let's say your money flow, here's your zero line. Let's say our money flow has a nice green wave and it's starting to cross into the red. Is this something I would look to long for a big breakout because it's a bull flag? No, not at all, right? Because at the value area high, I am looking for shorts. Number two, money flow, if it's coming out like this, I am not expecting the trend to continue up. I am actually expecting the opposite for the continuation of a downtrend. Number one, based off the volume profile, getting sucked to the POC and the value area low. Number two, the money flow crossing into the red. So it doesn't mean that a bull flag with money flow coming up is, I would say money flow coming up on a bull flag would be you could look at the bull flag, money flow's coming up. You can use that as a confirmation of, hey, it's probably going to break out. But this bull flag is not going to be treated the same as a bull flag with money flow coming up. Right, and I just don't know how other people, like, if you're not looking at something else, like money flow, order flow, something like that, you're just kind of blindly trading the pattern, which I would never recommend. And to be fair, I would never recommend blindly trading a volume profile either, right? You want to use multiple things. So, of course, I would 100% agree with that. All right, so let's see here. Come on, baby. Bump it. Shout out to Jesse. Thank you for the super chat, bro. It says 540 people watching, only 187 likes. Smash that like button. Come on, baby. Smash that like button. Jesse said it, not me. It's proven to improve your profitability by, I think it's like 650% now if you smash the like button. Only thing that can get you more profitable than hitting the like button is buying a Frankie Candles hat. Let's see. Shout out to French Toaster in the chat. Welcome in, brother. Welcome in. Let's take a look at, got the alert set. All right, so we got the alert set up here towards 60,700. So we'll see if that goes off, guys. I will take a look at Ethereum for anybody who's interested. Zoom out here. So, again, not a huge update here, guys, on Ethereum. We're just still playing around with this value area low. I mean, take a look at the daily. It's very, I would say this is an exaggerated bull div. You got like equal lows, higher lows. So it's like an bullish divergence into your key zone of support. I'll just give you the local levels here. Let's pull the Golden Pocket 786. Money flow still pretty decently in the red here. You could argue it's trying to trend up. It's a little too soon to call for it, and especially with the lackluster bull div. But I will say, if you do continue up, next major place to look is going to be the Golden Pocket 786, sitting between 1716 and 1780. Take a look at the money flow here on the lower time frames. Start here on the 30-minute. 30-minute money flow coming up. That would be good for a local continuation. No market cipher B1/16. 45-minute trying to come up. So I'm going to jump over to that 12-hour. So you got the 12-hour green dot. This is kind of both on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Green dot printing on the 12-hour. Your best bet here for a continuation up is to see that 45-minute money flow cross into the green, which is getting a lot closer on Ethereum than it is on Bitcoin. So, of course, 12-hour green dot. The 1/16 of that time frame is 45 minutes. So if that money flow can cross into the green, we could potentially look for a continuation of that uptrend. This money flow goes green, trend could continue up, and I would say your next major target is going to be, again, 1718 up to about 1775 into the Golden Pocket 786. And depending on what these medium time frame money flows look like, 1 hour super choppy, 2 hours in the green, 3 hour trying to cross into the green, 4 hour trying to cross into the green. So you got money flow trying to come up here, if I'm being fair, right? In the red, tried to cross green, back into the red. It is still kind of choppy, but, better to see that money flow crossing green than not. So I would see if we can get this money flow on the 4 hour to sustainably stay in the green, we could look for the continuation of the uptrend. Again, if it fakes out, guys, I have to be very cautious with this money flow in the choppy environment. If it fakes out, maybe you come back down. Your key level of support underneath you is still going to be the value area low at about $1,500. But if we can get this money flow and get the breakout here, very similar to Bitcoin, kind of like 61 and 62K, we got to get above these levels, flip them into support, then I think you can push up into here. And then we'll reassess the money flow once we push into this target. If money flow looks good, we could eventually look for the overall continuation through the value area into the POC, flip the POC, start the bigger journey up. I don't want to get carried away here looking for the fill of this volume profile just yet. You got a lot to get through here on some mixed signals. So I'd say money flow attempting to kind of come up here a little bit, though. 5 hour money flow crossing green, 10 hour money flow attempting. You do have the potential weekly bullish divergence here as well. Lower lows into your value area low with the higher lows. So from a high time frame perspective, once you start printing that weekly green dot, you'll have that bull div confirmed, and maybe that helps you continue up through the profile. You do have a lot of resistance ahead. So again, would I be looking for a fresh long here on ETH after this move up? Probably not. But anyone who may have been, longing at the lows, that is kind of what I would look for here. Hopefully that money flow on the 4 hour can continue into the green. Other than that, you're just kind of chopping around the bottom of this range. 1 second play-by-play, Frankie. Pull up the 1 second chart. Bitcoin continuing to push up here. Oh, my God, guys. Let's pull up the 1 second chart. Oh, my God. We got the 1 second money flow attempting to cross red here, playing around here. Oh, my God, is going to cross red. Major dump incoming. Let's pull up the 5 second chart. Let's go up a time frame here. 5 second chart's a very high time frame. Money flow bleeding out over time. Not looking good for the short-term trend. Shout out to Rudy. Start the horse narrating again. All right, getting super, super close. Come on, baby. Looking for the 61.4 to 62K. Again, I wish we could just do it now, but this could end up being very choppy, unfortunately. I don't know if we're going to hit this on stream, guys. Check that 45-minute. Come on, 45. This is, in my opinion, if we can get that 45-minute money flow, man, in the next 2.5 hours with that 12-hour green dot, that I would love that for the continuation up. And again, not only do you have the daily bull div, but we also got the obvious low time frame entry triggers for the long 1 hour bull div, but even creeping up to the medium time frames like 8 hour bull div, 10 hour bull div. Come on, we just need this money flow. Not all bull divs are created equal, right? If this was a big red wave about to cross into the green, oh man, it would look so good, or at least confidently look good. We're just kind of in a situation where the bull div printed and we're waiting for money flow to follow suit, which is a little bit sketch. But here we are. Let's push above here, get above here. Come on, come on. Are there any successful 1 second to 5 second traders that you know of? Shout out to Rudy. I do not know anybody that exclusively trades the 1 to 5 second chart. So I don't even know any failed ones. Let's see. Shout out to Nick Dunn, said, talk about XRP, my biggest bag. Yikes. Let's jump in here. We'll see if that alert goes off. Let's take a look at XRP here real quick. Let's take a look at it on a higher time frame. So obviously, guys, we are dealing with a situation on XRP where you have gotten below the value area high. We could not break out. We are back inside. To be quite honest, oh, man, I really would not start feeling super confident about XRP until we can get back outside of this value area high, sitting at about $1.21. At that point, you could start your journey back up to your next value area. Once we break inside here, we can start looking for the fill of the volume profile. But right now, I would say like the biggest level is the value area high at $1.21, and then you got to get above the structure, sitting, candle closures here at about $1.24. But until we start cracking that structure, this definitely is in a bearish trend, and you're also below your macro value area high, which we all know if you can't get outside of the value area high, and I am not calling for this to be the case, but you can't get outside of this value area high, of course you could start looking for a potential fulfill the volume profile. This is just too far away for me to start looking at as of right now, but it's getting a little sketchy here. Can't get out of here. The next major level is going to be the POC at about 82 cents. Are we going to have to get that next big capitulation down to tap in here? Maybe. The only thing that would kind of take that out of the cards is if we can get out of that value area. Again, above $1.21. So we're kind of just stuck in this profile until proven otherwise. I'll give you a local level to look at. Just pull the fib here from the high to the low, and there it is right on the value area high, right? So if you're going to be looking, if we get a big retracement here, it's not over until we can get out of this value area, right? Otherwise, you could just be coming in for a lower high and a lower low, which would continue your journey down towards that POC. Let me just check some MPOCs here real quick. Yeah, we have no monthly MPOC there. Do we have a weekly in there or something? No weekly MPOC, unfortunately. Man, there's just like nothing underneath here. Just straight shot up, which also makes me a little bit concerned because fast moves up could equal fast moves down with no technical levels. No monthly MPOC, no weekly MPOC. I'm not going to be able to get the dailies because it's too far in the past. Maybe you have some daily MPOCs in there. Could see if this will print on bar replay mode real quick. Try to change this. Sometimes if I do this, they'll print. Yeah, I just can't get POCs back there, unfortunately. So yeah, I don't really see. I mean, there's no monthlies or weeklies, which would be nice. So there's not a lot of support down there, unfortunately. Try to pull our fib here from the impulse to the high. I'll pull this on log. Or come on. Yeah, so you got the golden pocket there. So yeah, I mean, this also lines up. You've tapped into your golden pocket, so you are pushing into significant support at least. And then, once you lose this, PLC 786 is going to be next. Lose the golden pocket. Next place for price to likely go is the 786. Can't get out of the value area. Next likely place for price to go is the PLC. So this is definitely going to be the next major support on the way down that I can see. So, again, in order for me to feel a lot better about this, we really got to get out of this volume profile. Till then, it's a difficult situation as far as the move up. You do have the daily bull div, which is better than not having a daily bull div. 2-day bull div printing. 3-day bull div looking to print as well. So hopefully we can hold here, and then, all eyes on that value area high. Once you get out of there, you can start looking for maybe a bigger push to the upside. Yeah, you got your anchored VWAP from the lower high there as well. So, yeah, biggest level of resistance, 118 to 123. Once you flip that, that's when I'll start to feel a little bit better. And until then, hopefully these bull divs can give us a bit of a continuation up, at least for some relief. And then we'll identify kind of what's going on here, if we're going to see a lower high and a lower low, or if we are going to flip it and get the bigger push up. But pretty important zone here, guys. Lose $1. I mean, I have a hard time not seeing this level getting hit. So, ain't over till the support breaks, though. Shout out to Captain Kirk. Welcome in. Thank you for tuning in. Good to see you, Cap. Hope you're doing well. Enjoying retirement. Planning a trip to Vietnam next year for 3 months. Shout out to Cap. Let's go. That's awesome. Happy to hear that you're enjoying your retirement. Cardano maxis are non-existent. Shout out to Rudy. Could take a look at Cardano real quick. Where's she at? There she is. Oh, my God. Getting a little pop up there. And again, not all pumps are created equal here, guys. Oh, my God. It's ripping. Just, zoom out. But it is a nice little push off this. Let me take a look here real quick from an MPOC perspective. All right. So let me just mark this out. Monthly MPOC. Got another one right here. Just zoom in a bit. Boom. All right, so, and you have another, your new monthly MPOC is right up here. So, reclaiming the monthly MPOC you just pushed below and the new monthly MPOC that just confirmed is going to be key. Cardano needs to get and hold above 16 cents. Unfortunately, the next support, let me see if you got a weekly underneath you before that. No. So, yeah, I would say for Cardano, of course, you do have the daily bull divs. Potential no weekly bull div. This is technically invalidated unless we push up and this momentum wave closes higher. This is not a bull div right now. We'll have to see how this ends up closing. But you do have higher time frame. You do have the daily bull div technically just underneath that monthly MPLC. This would be a situation where I would like to see strength before saying anything, right? Get back above your monthly. This is going to be the important level sitting at 16 cents to flip into support. And then hopefully you could start breaking your structure here. And then, of course, you have your fast move down, potential fast move up. Got to get above this structure. So step number one, flip $16,000. Cardano's at 16K, guys. Flip 16 cents into support, and then you can work your way back up to these highs. Once you flip those highs, hopefully money flow starts to shape itself out. And, once you start flipping this, we can start talking about maybe a bigger push up to this previous value area. Again, fast moves down oftentimes lead to fast moves up. We're still pretty far away from that. I would say to trigger that, you would really need to get above this high, sitting in between about 19 and 18 cents. So I'll just draw this as a box. So step number one, flip this into support. Step number two, flip this into support. Then maybe we can see that fast move to the upside. If we pull up the VPVR, you can see big old volume gap. Typically, price does not like to stick around on these levels, right? Just like here. High volume node. Once you lose the high volume node, you have this massive low volume gap underneath you. Typically, once you break into those gaps, they are fast moves down. It'd be the same thing on the way back up. Flip into the low volume gap, could be a fast move up. Does that make sense? And I would say that gap ends at around 23 to 24 cents. But you got a lot of work to do here trying to flip this into support. Very, very big level. But you got the daily bull div. Come on. Money flow still pretty much in the red. So there you go. Shout out to Richard. Says, took profit on half of my long within 30 minutes. It's like, all right, time to keep going. Shout out to Richard. Not a bad decision, though. Be aware of that, right? I don't know exactly where you're long from. You took profit. That's totally okay, bro. That's totally okay, right? Especially if it's 50%. Now you can hold your stop loss. I'll just, for example, say you were looking at that monthly MPOC we were watching yesterday. You took a partial take profit maybe at the value area high. At this point, you're 50% out. Move your stop loss to break even. You're in a guaranteed winning trade. If this thing decides to moon, beautiful, right? If it decides to nuke down, doesn't matter. You're going to get stopped out in profit. So great work, bro. I know it can sometimes be painful emotionally when you take profit and then price continues up, but you gotta pay yourself along the way, right? There's no saying that this could have just rejected from here. So, don't see that as a bad thing. I know it feels bad emotionally because you're like, oh, my God, I'm missing out on money. But trust me, locking in profits along the way is going to trump trying to like maximize every cent of your trade and just holding the entire trade forever. You got to pay yourself while you're in the green. Otherwise, you'll quickly be in the red a lot of the time. Let's see. So let's just check in here. Yeah. Still kind of chilling. See if we can get above that $61,000 level. Now, when we take a look at the liquidation heat maps, guys, we took a look at this yesterday. Let me load this up on the weekly time frame. Shout out to Golden Child, said, Frankie, lie to me and tell me Algorand will be all right and will pump this coming bull season. Please, I went way too hard on Algo during the bear market. Shout out to Golden Child. Maybe I'll take a look at Algo in a second. I can't promise you. Again, when it comes to altcoins, guys, I am not the guy that's going to tell you this altcoin is going to be the best altcoin of the season. Oh, my God. Obviously, I'm a chart guy. Show me the chart. I'll tell you what I think price is going to do. But I am always like kind of very realistic when it comes to altcoins. Most altcoins will not go back to their all-time high. I'm not saying your altcoin's not going to go back to the all-time high, but just statistically speaking, most of them are not going to. But maybe, hopefully Algorand is one of the ones that go back up. But real quick, I do want to take a look at this liquidation heat map. We do have the liquidity sitting here just above the $61,000 level. We took a look at this yesterday. We are approaching that very, very quickly. So we'll see. Maybe we can crack these highs. Mark this out. 60,800 is really where that starts. So we'll see if we can come sweep out that liquidity. See if it gives us a little pop to the upside. And shout out to the premium Discord. Anybody in here, any Mafia members in here that are in the premium Discord, I do have a nice little breakdown that we're going to talk about on this low when it comes to order flow and exo charts. One of the beautiful things that we'd like to see for trap traders. Just wanted to let you guys know that. I was going to drop it in the Discord, but I never sent the message. So hopefully some of you guys are in here. Spread the word through the premium. Hopefully some of you guys already know what I'm going to talk about. All of the alts are on life support, yeah. I'm in from 58.6, but had to long heavier than I wanted to average my higher position out enough with these tiny bounces recently. Shout out to Richard. Well, it sounds like you have a plan, bro. I mean, that is more than most people have, man. And again, the fact that you locked in profits, I know, again, you don't want to, like I said before, you don't want to judge your trades on whether they play out or don't play out, right? Because again, you could have a great setup that doesn't play out. That's just a statistical probability. Even if you're, and this is a super high hit rate, which I wouldn't even say my hit rate's this high, but let's just say you have an 80% win rate on your setup that you like to see. That means that 20% of the time, right, that is still a probability, right? 20% of the time, you will see those perfect setups and they won't play out. That's why I say, if you have the setup, did you judge it off if you followed your rules? Did you hit the key level? Did you see your confirmations? Did you have the confluence? If so, it doesn't matter if that trade plays out or not. That is a good setup you're going to take every single time. And the reason you don't want to judge your trades off the emotion, right? Because the emotion could be, oh, it didn't play out. Man, that was a bad trade. Now the next time you see that good setup, you're not going to take it, right? And if 80% of the time it's going to play out, you're going to want to take it every single time and let the percentages play out over time, right? You're going to be profitable. And again, 80% is a super high hit rate. I'm not saying that's my hit rate, but it's the same thing with like taking profit, right? You made a good decision by taking partial profit, even though it might be like, oh man, it kept going up, I should have held it. Maybe that's not the case, right? Maybe you probably should have taken profit either way, because you got to take profit at your key targets, right? If you don't take the profit at your key targets and you're just going to, where are you going to take profit? Maybe you accidentally took the profit, you fat fingered the mouse or something like that. That's a different story. But, at the end of the day, even if it feels bad, right? Oh my God, I closed it and it kept going. On your next trade, again, assuming, let's just say you're trading this volume profile, maybe you're even just long from the low, you took 50% out here and then it continued up. That's perfect, right? You took partial profits and you're still in. But on the next trade, you don't want to remember this and be like, you come to the value area high, you have bearish confirmations, and you're like, I'm not taking profit on my long from down here because last time it continued up. Because at the next trade, you might have bearish confirmations that you're going to continue back down, right? So don't let that emotional feeling let you repeat. Don't let that emotion that you're feeling right now on that decision you made leak into your next setup, right? Because every setup is different. I have a video explaining on one time when I did that. I made money. It was poorly executed. I still made money. I classified it as a bad trade because I didn't follow my rules. And the mistake that I made was I let the emotion of, in that particular scenario, I did not take a trade because I was waiting for my next key level to get hit. And unfortunately, I'll just use this as an example, I did not long here because I wanted my key level to get hit, and price just went up, right? And then on the next setup, I missed that move, right? And then on my next setup, price was front running my level again, and I just let the emotions get me. I was like, last time I front ran my level, I'm not missing this one. And I took the trade, and then it went down to my key level, and I wound up in a bad situation. I still ended up winning the trade, but that doesn't matter to me, right? I broke my rules. I should have just continued to wait for my key level. Even though it didn't play out the last time, it still would have been better for me to continue sticking to my plan long term, right? I wound up in a lot of drawdown. It was not good, right? I started going on tilt. So it's very important. I like to show exact examples. I have that video lives somewhere on this channel. Very important, right? Sometimes I can make money and still classify it as a bad trade, which I know sounds totally backwards to most people, but it is true. So let's see. Are we going to inch towards this liquidity? Come on, baby. Wow. Interesting price action here. 15-minute red dot about to print. 15-minute bearish divergence. Interesting. So just to give you guys some insight on what I'm looking at here, and again, I am not giving you this information so you can take a trade or anything like that, but just simple movement on price. One of my thoughts here is we have this VWAP coming down on the 15-minute. When that VWAP crosses over, which is very close to doing, it will print a red dot. Where do I go when I see a 15-minute red dot? And again, this isn't necessarily calling for a massive move, but just local kind of ebbs and flows in the market. Once that red dot prints on the 15-minute, I'm going to go to the 1-minute, which is technically 1/15th, not 1/16th. But I see this money flow starting to roll over, right? And again, I'm not telling you to short this, full disclosure, but I'm saying to myself, well, hey, if that 15-minute red dot decides to print and this 1-minute money flow starts to leak out and cross over into the red, it could start a 1-minute downtrend. Now, 1-minute downtrend can be very small, right? But that money flow crossover would indicate lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. Now, whether that is to retest and get a bigger breakout or, big acceptance into the range is two different things. But we'll see. If we can get that red dot on the 15-minute, just in real time, I will be watching that 1-minute money flow. And technically, I would really prefer to see that liquidity taken, because remember, what we look at here on the liquidity is it acts as a magnet for price. The closer you get, here's the liquidity, here's the price. The closer the price gets to that liquidity, the stronger that magnet becomes, right? So we'll see. Obviously not a guarantee we have to take it, but it is suspiciously close there. Shout out to Rudy, said my biggest trade was 1,000%. I made tens of dollars. Shout out to Rudy. Let's go, baby. Hey, we all got to start somewhere, man. Don't compare yourself to other people. It's comparison's the thief of all joy, as they say. There's always going to be someone making more money, making less money. Maybe compare downward. Someone might have made tens of cents on that trade. Truth. If I would have taken profit last week when I should have, then I wouldn't have had to double down on this last dip to average out my position for this bounce. Shout out to Richard, bro. Dude, you're on track, man. You are identifying your decisions and judging on if they were good. You're like looking back and trying to fix mistakes that you might have made in the past. Like, bro, you are ahead of most people. Most people will just be like, manipulation, it's a scam, I need a new strategy, right? But like, you actually understand that the decisions you're making are giving you your outcome. Kind of like I do, right? When I made that emotional decision, like I said, I have that video on the channel. I made that emotional decision. I mean, I very clearly knew that was happening, right? But I just let the emotions get the best of me, and I said, what a perfect learning opportunity for the Mafia. Let me show you guys how I actually made a mistake, because it doesn't matter how experienced you are. I mean, the more experience you get, the more, strictly you follow your plan. Like, that is a muscle you have to grow. But I'm not impervious to emotions, right? I'm not impervious to breaking my rules. I'm not impervious to forgetting to set a stop loss. And anytime I make those mistakes, I like to put them up here on the channel and share them with you guys. I'm like, hey guys, I messed up. Learn from this, so you don't end up like me. Unfortunately, I made money on that trade, which is kind of counterintuitive, because I was like, I didn't read the comments on that video, but it was probably like, you made money. Why? That was a good trade. You're an idiot. Like, why are you saying it's a bad trade? And it's like, I'm trying to teach you how to consistently make money, not make bad decisions and luck out. Yeah, so you won, but you didn't win, basically. I made money. I think in the video I said, yay money, L execution, right? Because again, the reason that is bad, yes, I think people just think money good. That's not the case, right? You can take a random, I could open up the chart here and say 100x short. That trade has a chance of playing out. I might have taken it off no confirmation with no plan whatsoever. Just because that played out and I made money does not mean that that is going to be a repeatable thing over time that's going to consistently make me money. So I don't want to do that, right? I want to do the thing that I know is proven to consistently make me money over time, which is sticking to my actual trading plan. So the way I see it is, if I break the trading plan, that is a bad trade, whether I make money or not, right? I can make money gambling. That doesn't mean that I should continue to do it, right? Let's see. I've never seen Bitcoin like this. Shout out to Owen. Like what? Just wonk into the upside. I like to call that the Bitcoin Willy Wonk step. Neon Visual said, wait, actions have consequences. Sometimes they do. Squeeze Bitcoin, do something. Come on. Do I have to hide from the... Do I have to go get Lucy? Lucy pooped in her cage yesterday, guys, while we were live. What a nightmare. Was that yesterday or Monday? Man, I'm losing track of the days here. Come on. Come on, baby. Do it. Do it. You got the liquidity up there. You're just going to leave it? You're just going to leave it? Just going to leave that liquidity, man? Really? Come on. Come on. Look at this price action, man. 15-minute 12 and 15-minute red dots are looming. Makes me wonder if we're going to go sweep that now or if we got to pull back first. I made a donation to the wig down. Shout out to Lobster, bro. I don't mean to laugh at donating. I mean, it was a donation, right? That's a good thing. I know the feeling, bro. 1 minute chart is being held perfectly flat because whales are trying to paint the picture they want. Shout out to Richard. Price is bugged here. This is very suspicious. What's this look like on Heikinashi? Yeah, this is shady. Come on. You gonna go sweep that liquidity or what? Do it or don't do it. Make up your mind here, Biddy. Come on. Turning into a plateau. She going to leave that liquidity? That 15-minute with the 1 minute money flow. 15-minute red dot with the 1 minute money flow makes me suspicious if we're going to go scoop that. It makes me suspicious that we're going to come down before we scoop it, but got that magnet here. Come on. Should we put the magnets on the chart? We're going to do it. Come on. Come on. Come on. We'll do 4. We'll do 5. Come on. Boop. Give me that liquidity. Oh, we got single prints underneath us. Oh, boy. They're going to hold as support, or are they going to fill to the downside? Come on. Who's going to win here? Weird action. Yeah, super. We need more magnets. Magnets in the chat. Come on. Come on. More magnets. Sweep it. Sweep it. Come on. Come on. Pay the long. Pay the long, baby. Rug pull activated. It's a pretty bull flag. Yeah, shout out to Captain. I was actually thinking the same thing. Speaking of the patterns there. A little bit of a little pennant action there a little bit. The pennant has to break up, right, guys? Come on. I mean, this is suspicious. Look at these candles. What is this? What is this? 0.01% over the last 2 minutes. This is shush, guys. This is a little suspicious. I wish I had my glasses. Just go full nerd mode. Huh. I want to take a sip of this coffee, guys. I'm not going to lie. I'm suspicious of this being yesterday's coffee. Should I do it? While we wait for this? Oh, God. Red candle. Is this yesterday's coffee? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Pretty sure I threw it out. I'm going to try it. It's black coffee. It's not like it's bad milk. Should I do it? It might dump Bitcoin. I don't know. Forbidden coffee. Oh, my God. This thing is not going to make up its mind. We need more magnets. We need more magnets. Come on. Come on. Do it. Should we do it? I think it's good. I think it's good. I think that if this was old coffee, there would be like a ring in there. There is no ring. There's zero ring, just black coffee. This is good. I think this is good. Yeah, this is fresh. Okay. It's cold, but it's fresh. Back to the 1 second. Let's see what the 1 second chart looks like. It's probably interesting. Look at that. 1 second chart. Look at this massive bounce on the 1 second. 0.9%. 0.09%. Look at this. What is this? Come on. Let's see what we got. Did have a significant amount of shorts entering here. Just people shorting all the way up there. And longs coming out, probably taking profit. So we have price coming up, people entering shorts, which oftentimes will add more liquidity for a potential squeeze. This is low time frame stuff, though. Yeah, 37%, 15 million. We'll see. We could hold on top of these single prints here at about 60,688. Is that what that says? 60,673. If we come into this, we might fill it quickly. Not a big move, but you do have those single prints there. I'm not going to explain all this right now. Take me forever. But we'll see. What is she going to do? Man, this is crazy. This is insane. What is going on? This looks like a low liquidity meme coin. Hello? Is TradingView broken? What the? Oh God. Oh God. Someone reboot the router. What the heck is going on right now? For real, what the fark? Either pump or dump. What say? Shout out to Justin. I don't know. It doesn't look like it wants to pick here. I mean, we're trying to get the magnets. Just more magnets? I mean, how this is like tower defense. This is literally Bitcoin tower defense right now. Except these are not shooting, they are sucking. It's going to explode. It looks like it's gonna explode one way or the other. Oh no! Oh no! 15-minute red dot? Almost. Oh my god, guys. Oh my god. Yo, this is crazy, bro. I mean, how many magnets do we need here, guys? This is pretty wild. Got the liquidity. Will it get left behind? Blood diamond. See here. 1 minute blood diamond, maybe. Oh, 1 minute blood diamond. Yo, listen. We're over 2 hours right now. I'm just gonna wait this out. We're gonna see what happens here, Mafia. We're in this for the long haul. I don't think the magnets are working. I have to agree. Wait, hang on. Okay. Yeah, I have to agree with you. I'm not sure. I paid a lot of money for these magnets. They were supposed to be like the one thing that, if you want price to go to a certain level, you put these magnets. Doesn't seem like they're working. Copy and paste the magnets till TradingView crashes. Oh, hang on. Maybe we're doing it wrong, guys. Maybe we're doing it wrong. Maybe we need one big magnet. Okay, this seems to be working better. Seems to be working a bit better. But we got that 1 minute money flow continuing out here with the potential 15-minute red dot. It makes me, again, that does not mean that we're not going to sweep the liquidity. It just means that we may have to get a pullback first. But we'll see. I mean, this is insane. This is kind of wild. We're going to remember this day. July 1st, when the 1 minute price action was the worst. Obviously, bigger is better, of course. And what would you consider big? Right? Like, this is a huge magnet, right? What would you say that is? That's like, I'd say like maybe a good 3 inches. That's big. I mean, I think for most people, that's pretty big. That's a big magnet. This is commitment, Mafia. Lock in, Mafia. Lock in. Come on. Drop those magnets in the chat. Somebody put the voodoo on Bitcoin. It's got sleep paralysis. Oh, my God. What wins, the liquidity or the 15-minute red dot? Okay. Come on. Come on, baby. Come on. 3 inches was bigger than we thought, guys. Come on. Crazy they shut down CERN and now Bitcoin is dead. It was all part of the simulation. Have you ever seen a magnet so big? No, I think 3 inches is, that might be a world record. Might be a world record. 3 inches is big, thank God. Oh, yeah. Andre, I don't think anyone's going to argue with 3 inches being pretty large. Just like a general measurement of anything, 3 inches is pretty big. I mean, it's not small by any means. I mean, if anything, slightly above average, I think. Come on, Bitcoin. Give us something. Give us something. I'm about to start playing some music here. Should we pump it up with some music? 2 consecutive 15-minute candles open and close at the same price. This is, this is embarrassing, guys. I don't know what to do. Bitcoin's having trouble performing. It heard 3 inches and was like, oh, man, that's big. Can't perform. Oh, no. Oh, no. Is that 1 minute money flow going to get us? Come on. Hey, shout out to Blondu said, today I took a 3% move from your lessons. Let's go, baby. Come on. Come on. We'll throw some 20s for you, bro. That's all I got at hand here. The Benjis are on the other side of the desk. Come on, baby. Shout out to you, man. I'm just teaching. You're executing, bro. Congratulations. Nice move. Hopefully the move didn't keep you stuck like this. Put a blue pill on the chart. Yeah, we got to get Blue Chew involved in this. New sponsor of the channel, guys. Use code PUMPIT for 50% off Blue Chew. I'm kidding. We're not actually sponsored. Let's see. Can we find a blue Chew here? Maybe this could be what moves price, guys. This could be. We're just losing our minds here. Come on. Where's the Blue Chew pill? Where's it at? Here it is. All right, there we go. Little performance enhancement. We got the magnet, the 3-inch large magnet. We got the Blue Chew for performance enhancing. Come on. Come on, Bitcoin. Here you go. There's your little, there's your Blue Chew. Come on, baby. Do it. Do it. Right into the liquidity. You can do it. Okay. It's working. The Blue Chew is working. Double the dose. Double the dose. There we go. The Blue Chew worked, baby. The Blue Chew worked. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. That's all it needed, guys. A little bit of Blue Chew encouragement, and Bitcoin gets the pop through the liquidity. Come on, baby. Come on. Long is pushing. There we go. W's in the chat for Blue Chew, our new sponsor of the channel and the Bitcoin pumps. That liquidity, guys. Come on. Come on, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, guys, we're keeping that one in our back pocket. And from a legit standpoint here, guys, why was that a big pop to the upside? There's the liquidity. The liquidity gets the shorts wrecked. When you get stopped out or liquidated out of a short, it creates those market buys, giving you that big pop to the upside. Unbelievable performance on the 3-inch gigantic magnet and the Blue Chew. Put the blue circles in the chat, baby. Come on. Come on. Guys, sometimes, listen, don't be ashamed. If you have trouble performing, don't feel ashamed. Blue Chew is the way. Blue Chew is the way. That was kind of wild. All right. Let's get back to the, that could not have been any more perfect. Let's get back to the key levels here. Oh, man. All right, so let's pull up that current volume profile. There it is. Can't make it up. Blue Chew for the win, man. I guess we gotta get a sponsorship, right? Yo, that was insane. That was still weird AF. Yeah, that was super strange. But hey, the magnets. You know, we had to switch to the big magnet. We had to switch to the Blue Chew. Little encouragement. Bro, you got to do this often. What was the cause there, guys? Was it the liquidity or was it the Blue Chew? We will never know. But there you can see on that push up the short starting to close. You could say that could be the shorts getting stopped out. I don't have the current liquidation information there, but there you go, guys. Blue Chew or not, liquidity above. What do we expect? Again, when you push into that liquidity. Shorts get stopped, creates market buy orders, fast push to the upside. Still have not tapped into the major key level. So was this just going to end up in an SFP? I guess we'll find out. 15-minute red dot did not print, which is nice. But you did get the SFP. Ooh, 15-minute bear div is potentially 30-minute bear div invalidated. How's that 45-minute money flow trying to creep back up? We'll see. Can we get the SFP? Pretty wonked price action, guys. I mean, this is wild. Now maybe we see the 15-minute red dot. Sweeper. Again, this unfortunately right now, I mean, this may turn into like an exaggerated bear div if we do get it to confirm an SFP. We'll see. We'll see. And remember, this is the first level that we took a look at in the beginning of the stream. What we really want to do is hold on top of this structure, right? And then once we get flip 62K, it starts to look like a little bit more strength coming into the market. But this could potentially end up in a failure. 80-minute money flow trying to come up. Not really a big change there. 30-minute continues up. We'll see. This could end in an SFP. And it doesn't need to be like a low time frame SFP for all I know, right? This could end up ending in a 1 hour SFP, which could take 34 minutes. So I probably will not be live for that. But we'll see. Ideally, we hold above these levels if we don't want to get that rotation back down. Oh. Got some longs at the top there. Now we're going to trap the longs. 14 million. There we go. Potential 15-minute SFP. Will it confirm? Got 3 minutes. And there you go. If this ends in an SFP, it's a perfect example of why we look at these specific wicks. A lot of people, obviously, SFPs are very simple. Wick above, candle closure down below, SFPs confirmed. Usually you'll get a pullback. Not financial advice, but that is typically how it ends up happening. But people always ask me, like, how do I find these levels, right? Well, number one, we understood that looking at the liquidation heat map, we had that liquidity sitting up there, right? That's why we just sat there looking for that line to get ripped through. And when we see that, right, I see this high amount of liquidity above those highs. This will give us an opportunity of two things potentially happening, right? Either you get a massive short squeeze. Really, a bunch of things can happen, right? But either you're going to be looking for an SFP, or you eventually just get a big short squeeze, right? Which I guess you could consider this SFP a potential short squeeze for a move back down. But we do now have potential longs up here that could become trapped. But there you go, right? You have the liquidity on the heat map. You have the wick. That is the level you're looking at for the SFP. Maybe we can print it. Unfortunately, I don't think I would take this. But I'm holding shorts on all my exchanges. I could take a long on Blowfin or WeX, or I'm sorry, Femex or WeX, but I don't have an open exchange here where I can open another short. I would have to close my bigger short, unfortunately. Yeah. That kind of sucks. But that would just be fun for content. I'm totally fine because I'm holding my shorts from higher. And my real next area of interest will still be up here. But there we go. Will the SFP confirm? Got a minute and 37 seconds. Looks like it's confirming. Didn't get it on the 12-hour. 10 hours still printing. 12 minute, not 12-hour. Yeah, so you did get the back below the level. There you go. 15-minute SFP is probably going to confirm. Local key level is going to be this value area high. See something here. Not a high percentage there of longs, but back down to these single prints. SFP about to confirm. Yeah. So at this point, right, pretty simple thought process here. 15-minute bear div. Yeah, it's almost like an exaggerated bear div, but above the volume profile, SFP, potential bearish divergence. Get back in here, flip the value area high into resistance. POC could be the next stop, meaning the key level of support is going to be this value area high. If we have to slip back in here, your goal again is to stay above these general levels, which this does look like a pretty nice SFP. 6 seconds. All right, there's the value area high. No 30-minute SFP, holding on top of the value area high. This is interesting price action, guys. What is this? I mean, SFP, just very simple, but look at the support there. So, yeah. Once we get back in here, I mean, for all we know, guys, we could end up just continuing to range around. Kind of sucks that we didn't push in here. Come in the chat. Short it. Shout out to Rattlehead. Yeah, shout out to Rudy. Said value area low incoming. We're going to bing bong around until everyone gets tired. Yeah, could be the case. Could be the case. And then again, right now we have this situation where we have the red dot on the 15-minute and the 1 minute money flow attempting to come out here. So if we can get this money flow on the 1 minute to continue out, potential lower highs, lower lows, get stuck inside the profile. POC would be next. Lose the POC, potentially move down towards the value area low. Maybe those medium time frame red dots can roll over on top of the low time frames. Yeah, well, there's your SFP. Technically, if you enter in on confirmation, this is not a trade signal. Again, I would take this trade live, but I have shorts open on all my exchanges, unfortunately. But also not part of my main plan, but obviously a very scalpable move here. Technically, if you're waiting for the confirmation, you'd be in somewhere here. But of course, on the SFPs, there's a few different ways you can do it. You could either wait for the candle confirmation, which is already played out or already happening right now. Or you can always just wait for the wick up, and then you can always try to aggressively enter in on the break below the SFP level. But in that case, right, you do have to understand if this candle is not confirmed and you're coming back down, and let's just say you start pushing below this level, you can enter there as at the SFP level, but you're kind of banking on the fact that the candle's going to close there, because before that candle closes, who knows, right? You could push back up. You'll get a better entry, but it's slightly more risky. But I would say in this case, just say stop loss above the wick. This is actually a pretty big wick for an SFP, to be honest. Usually the stop losses are a bit tighter than that, especially if you're in from a high. But the idea there would be get back inside the volume profile, next likely stop POC, lose the POC, next likely stop value area low. Again, I'm not telling you to take this trade. It's not financial advice, but that would be my thought process, even without the position tool. Once we get back in here and can't get out, POC very likely. And then we'll see what money flow looks like once you lose the POC. Eventually, that TP2 could be the value area low. And then as we talked about before, pull this from high to low. This is that same local support level we talked about at the beginning of the stream. There it is, back into the low. Do we long breakouts here, Mafia? Absolutely not. I mean, if you are going to long, you got to wait for at least a pullback. Definitely not longing. People see that big pop up. Oh my God, the bear market's over. Boom, long, wrecked. Right, and you can see that happening with all those longs pushing in at the high. 1.5 million, 1.9 million. POC in the wick of the candle. And, I mean, if you long up here, I guess a lot of stop loss is very likely below 59.8, which means if you do end up breaking below that POC, you could end up wrecking those longs into the value area low. Excuse me. But, so there we go. See if we can get stuck inside this value area. 90-minute red dot looking to print. You know, from a technical perspective, if we are going to continue looking at the daily bullish divergence, technically, pulling back to the POC or the value area low golden pocket can still be places to look for the continuation of the uptrend potentially. So even if you rotate all the way back here, potentially we could still see the longer term play out. And then once we lose that, starts to get a little bit sketchy. I really wouldn't want to, you know, ideally we don't even get accepted back into the profile. But even if you do, right, potentially higher low for a higher high. It's just really hard for me to put a lot of confidence on this right now because of the medium time frame money flow. 2 hours in the green, 1 hour's attempting to come up, 3 hour. Yeah, that doesn't look super bad. So these would be the key levels. Shout out to Out of the Bins said, drop a like for Frankie. This is crazy. Shout out to Out of the Bins. Lovely stream. Shout out to Joe. I appreciate you, brother. Joe Mario. That was an interesting stream, dude. Very educational. Yeah, of course, brother. Of course. We finally got some volatility. I can kind of narrate it live. Awesome teaching moment. Love it. Yeah. Of course. I'm glad you guys are finding it valuable. That's what we're here for. That was the most awkward SFP. Felt like slow motion. Yeah, that was kind of very interesting. And yeah, the still got 24 minutes to confirm the 1 hour SFP. So, actually, absolute battle here at the value area high. 1 minute money flow continuing out. That's super I mean, this is weird, guys. Talk about coiling up. That was wild, man. We got to clip that. The blue chew. The blue chew worked, guys. Extra strength. Extra strength blue chew. I blame CERN. This deserves everyone hitting the like button. Shout out to Regular Guys Trades. Guys, if you like the blue chew, if you use blue chew just now on Bitcoin, smash that like button. Come on. So, yeah, we are at 2.5 hours here, guys. Said we would stick it out for the move, but I do have to hop off here. Yeah, back inside the value area. Key levels, guys. Key levels. Next stop or next major key level to the downside within the profile. And again, just looking at this from a simple kind of red dot on the 15-minute. Do we have to take the liquidity first or not? Obviously, that question was answered. Now we have that 15-minute red dot with the 1 minute money flow. If that 1 minute money flow stays in the red, we can expect a shorter term, low time frame continuation to the downside. First major target would be the POC. Once we lose the POC, next likely stop, value area low. This would be, in my opinion, a very, very important level to watch as it is the golden pocket from the low to the high. Once we start losing this value, I am a little bit more suspicious that this entire move up could get faded to the downside. Until then, golden pocket support inside that value area low. Value area high sits at 60,466. POC sits at 59.8. Value area low sits at 59,000, and the golden pocket ends at about 58.75. So get these levels marked off on your chart. Again, for me personally, I am holding, obviously a valid place to look for the pullback, but I'm holding my shorts from much higher. And really the place where I'm most interested, traps to the upside still remain at this golden pocket and this 786. But of course, not everybody's holding those shorts from higher. So there we go. SFP. See if we can get back in there. If not, honorable mention here at 61.4 to 62K. But yeah, just simply waiting for those next traps. Personally for me, most interesting here and here. Honorable mention up here towards 62K. And locally, maybe we just stick inside this range. This would be super annoying, guys. If I have to come back up on this live stream tomorrow and we are just sitting up here or even down at the value area low, just still stuck inside the range. Hopefully we can get some kind of a bigger move up here to make it a little bit more exciting for Bitcoin. Even this seems exciting, but we're just in a range. In a range. Inside a bigger range. And we even had this like little range down here. Absolutely brutal. But we'll see. We'll see if we can continue down through that volume profile. Get all those key levels marked off on your chart. And if you just tuned in, honestly, I recommend going back to the beginning of the stream and just watching this through from the beginning, because we took a look at the TA in the beginning, looked for the move to the upside, saw the liquidity, brought the blue chew into play, got Bitcoin to pop up. A lot to learn from this stream. So yeah. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Downey says 4-year cycle isn't over until September, October. So that's still months of sideways at best. Yeah, shout out to Downey. Of course, from the higher time frame perspective, could be the case. Team sideways, yeah, there's not a lot of people on that team, but oftentimes it is the case, unfortunately. Let's see. Short from 61.1. Let's go. Shout out to Cole. Come on, baby. I was holding out for something more exciting. Jesse, where are you going after Frankie? Shout out to Wick and Jesse. Shout out to Ash. Welcome in. Said, what's good, Frankie? 2-week bull div. What do you think, bro? Yeah, I mean, same thing as the weekly bull div. Not printing just yet, but potentially setting up here. Potentially setting up. You got your VWAP attempting a curve to the upside. Of course, that weekly is very likely going to print before the 2-week. But yeah, I mean, we're pushing into major support, guys. If again, doesn't mean we can't go lower. Again, tune into the beginning of the stream to cover those local lower levels. But yeah, right now, I mean, simply, we'll see. Number one, you know, I mean, who knows? If we stay on top of this volume profile, maybe we could push higher. But we'll see what that 15-minute red dot, 1-minute money flow gives us. This is the roadmap for the price action to the downside, with the golden pocket at the value area low being the most interesting level to me personally. And then once we end up losing that, we'll see about those lower targets that we covered earlier in the stream. Until then, we'll see, guys. Still, the biggest, most important level to break to the upside is going to be that 62K level to show some kind of strength coming into the market. And then we'll see if we can work inside that upper volume profile. And then once we can get above $67,000, we could start talking about a much bigger move up. But until then, even the local levels of resistance proving to hold strong. So watch the targets to the upside and those targets to the downside. And I'll keep you guys updated here on the live streams and the market updates. Go get your Blue Chew. Link in the description down below, guys. I'm just kidding. Not a real sponsor. But thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Smash that like button on your way out for the Blue Chew. I'm going to go bring Lucy outside to poop. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Here we go. At the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know, on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At
Top